It is so very rare, Stugotz, and so very exciting to come in to do this show on a Monday in August. And we have one of the rarest of most delightful things in sports, which is the aggressive handshake. Where we can overreact to two coaches, not since Jim Schwartz. Was it Schwartz and Harbaugh?
I think it was Schwartz and Harbs, yeah.
We've been able to talk for days about the aggressive handshake, and I feel like Mike Ryan wishes that he was still somehow doing Mic'd Up, the Chelsea podcast, so that he could do reams of shows about Conte. Have you seen this, Stugotz? It's a very short manager. Please tell me the backstory here, because all I'm delighting in is how aggressive the handshake was. Conte wanted to sneak out of there without making eye contact. What's the other guy's name? Tuchel?
Tuchel, however your heart desires. So the backstory is, number one, it's one of the fiercest rivalries in the Premier League, Tottenham versus Chelsea. Two London clubs don't get along, have had very contentious matches over the last few years, especially. The rivalry's somehow been ratcheted up. But Antonio Conte, as a little extra dash, used to manage Chelsea quite successfully, won several trophies over at Chelsea. He went to Italy, and now he is back in the Premier League, and he is managing Chelsea's hated rival, Tottenham Hotspur. Antonio Conte is known for histrionics on the sideline. He's Italian. He's very passionate. He loves celebrating goals.
He looks like the caricature of what I would imagine a cartoon foreigner of a coach, in emotion and size, kind of crazed.
Soccer coaches switch clubs every year, it feels like, and yet when they get to these clubs, they've never been more intense about these clubs.
Yeah. They have deep passion.
They bleed that blue until they bleed that
ridiculous.
Red, until they bleed that green, until they bleed that black.
It's a fairly recent phenomenon, too, that's actually happened with more transient Chelsea coaches, where you don't go to your club's biggest rival. You at least respect that portion.
Well, there's a buffer usually now. You go to some other club, and then you can go coach the rival, as long as you've gone through the buffer first.
Jessica, were you laughing at just that transactional nature of all that stuff, or were you laughing at how sleepy Chris Cody sounded coming to the microphone?
I feel like I made a decent point there. Why are you coming after me?
It just sounded tired.
I can't even live.
Yeah.
It just sounded like you emerged straight from bed to me.
Well,
That's
he
all.
was rubbing sleep out of his eyes while he was making
Mondays
it.
are rough around here for me.
Your eyes are so puffy
For
right
me
now.
too. For everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you just had a bang.
you really look.
I actually had a nice.
Jesus.
I actually had a calm weekend
What's wrong
too.
with your eyes?
Stugotz, you're called this is bad. This is getting bad. It's that bad.
When it's coming from me, I mean, I had a nice weekend. I slept a little bit. I mean, I didn't travel. I didn't get on an airplane.
That's what I mean. I actually had a nice weekend too. I didn't even. This is just me.
Looks like you had a nice morning.
No.
Anyway, I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Witty, you must have loved it too.
Oh, it's tremendous. And it was born out of those very same histrionics that Antonio Conte is known for. So he is the most effusive celebrator of a goal, perhaps in the world. Just leaps into the arms of his coaching staff, and it's 2-1 against Southampton. It's not even a big goal.
Something that I loved when he was managing Chelsea.
Right. Something
he would crowd surf. It was insane.
So the origins.
Also, very good hair transplants.
Oh, amazing!
Really? That's a hair transplant.
Yeah,
excellent.
Go back and look at
days.
Yeah, go back and look at a picture of Antonio Conte as a player. It looks like a different person.
I wouldn't say they're good. I mean,
No, they're
they serve
fantastic.
their purpose.
No,
you have to see it before.
You should see the transformation. It's unbelievable. So the kind of needle between them begins when there's a goal that Tottenham scores, and it should not have been a goal because there was a foul in the build-up. And so the Chelsea manager,
and
Thomas
the player was
Tuchel,
offside in the eye line of the goalkeeper.
wasn't offside for me, but it was a foul. It's not worth arguing. But
What is the build-up?
It seems like it is worth arguing.
no, it wasn't. It's not worth arguing.
It's not worth arguing.
It
It seems like now we're
It
here.
should have been a goal. It should have been a goal.
We both agree that it shouldn't have been a goal.
It shouldn't have been a goal.
Serious
And so-
question: is the build-up the things that happened leading up to the
Correct.
goal?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But this was
Build-up.
this was the very first thing that happened.
What
Tottenham
else would it be?
completed 15
Why is it
passes
called a
after that.
build-up?
But so there's a challenge, should have been a foul, wasn't given. So Thomas Tuchel is screaming. He's getting in the way of Antonio Conte's amazing celebrations. And so the two of them get after it. They have to be separated. Then another controversial goal towards the end of the game results in Spurs getting an equalizer. And then
you miss Tuchel sprinting past Antonio Conte.
yes,
and he would have tripped him. And then he goes to Instagram afterward, right?
Yeah,
And that was not fake. He actually did this.
Yeah,
So after the 1-1, when they fight, Chelsea score a second goal to go 2-1 up, and Tuchel, who is not known for these celebrations, goes flying past him. The one thing that, having been to Stamford Bridge, the two coaching areas are very close together, and so Tuchel goes running.
But he's
past.
going to bother him, right?
Of course,
he's doing this, yeah,
he's
because
never done that before.
One's
Runs
Italian
to the corner.
One's Italian, one's German. They celebrate appropriately. So this was very out of character for Thomas Tuchel, who in his own right has been a very successful Chelsea manager, won the Champions League, and he darts past Antonio Conte in ways that I've never seen Thomas Tuchel celebrate. And Conte actually put that still later after what happened during the handshake on Instagram, saying, "Had my head been up, I would have tripped you." In 2 languages, very helpfully. So then another controversial goal. Chelsea are winning 2-1, and then at the death, Tottenham score off a corner. However, that was another controversial goal because a Tottenham player pulled a Chelsea player with very long hair down by his hair. Could have been a red card, but no sending off. They even VAR'd this. The goal stands, and Spurs get a pretty decent 2-2 result considering the fact that they were down 2-1 at the death. Then the handshake. And it looked like it was just going to be a drive-by handshake between Conte and Tuchel, but Tuchel holds on to Conte's hand, pulls him close, looks him dead in the eye.
Skeletal grip. It was stunning to see. Everyone, what are you looking at me like that for, Jessica? What happened? It was just
Monday, Dan.
It was
Getting the sleep out of my eyes.
Yeah.
It was
Skeletal grip was very
He's a writer.
emotive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is not a friendly comparison to Thomas Tuchel, but it was very Trumpy. I don't know when Donald Trump goes in for the handshake. No, not the small hands, but he does the pull thing. He does the pull, the very aggressive pull.
but
Like it's a very.
Conte wanted to get away from him, and there
Yeah.
would be no getting away from this vice-like grip.
Oh,
No. Players had to jump in, be separated. Managers had to be separated. Assistant coaches came and started jawing. Chelsea's captain, Cesar Azpilicueta, Dave, who once played for Antonio Conte, got in the face of Antonio Conte. There's some history there because Conte didn't necessarily have the greatest separation from the Chelsea players. So the holdovers, not the biggest fans. And you have another classic at the bridge. They're dubbing it Battle of the Bridge Part 2 because there was a Part 1 where the players got very contentious. And we finally had something that made us feel something on a Sunday morning for the first time in months.
I appreciate all of the backstory. All I care about is aggressive handshake silliness, how silly men can be. Just all of it, because this will be talked about quite a bit, even though it's just stupid.
So emotional. Do you guys remember when Jim Harbaugh and Jim Schwartz had a very aggressive handshake?
Yeah,
Steve Martin also.
Steve Martin, yeah.
Sleep
Yeah.
it's a
Arms.
Monday.
I've been trying to come up with a
Jess, wake up.
Kantian philosophy joke for the last 5 minutes, so I wasn't really paying attention.
If you want to hear this handshake covered in more detail, we are very proud to relaunch the Quirkiness brand. If you're a network subscriber, you've seen a couple of shows there, but we got a whole new graphic package. Christian and Alexis is Cuban, by the way, bring the New York flavor to soccer, and we're very happy to have that. They will premiere inside of our main feed so you guys can sample it. It's a very good soccer show, so please check it out.
It seems like Tuchel would take this guy to the woodshed. Like if they actually squared off and there was a fight. Are you saying no, Witty?
I think you're comparing their physicality. I think you're using Thomas Tuchel's very kind of rough, jagged German appearance.
Right.
But I think that Antonio Conte is one of the hardest men in the history of
Conte
football.
would be a bit of a spider monkey crawling up his neck and delivering rabid rage.
Jake Paul said that Tuchel
Really?
looked right into
I know a
Conte's
lot about
eyes.
him. I mean,
And
Have you? I believe you're not understanding what he
you
was
have him like
as,
Mick Cronin.
as
I
a
mean,
player. Well, I mean, he's a bit of a fire hydrant.
not far away.
Really?
He's not far away from Mick Cronin.
He's going to fight you to the death?
He
Yeah.
will.
All right.
Absolutely.
yeah, there's a considerable reach advantage, but like Jake Paul said, Tuchel had no fear. He was looking dead into
Yes.
Antonio
Well, he
Conte's
was
eyes.
demanding that Conte look him in the eyes, but Conte kept staring at sort of his navel.
Yeah, well, there's like I said, considerable reach and height advantages, but I think I'd also take Conte. Just he seems hard to kill. He'll set up defensively initially, and then one counter. That's all it takes.
Speaking of hard to kill, Miami's own from the hood, A-Rod.
I watched this last night.
Well, I want to talk about this. He sat down with Jeter and touched him a lot on the shoulder. It was what I saw was uncomfortable. It was A-Rod being self-deprecating and Jeter sort of forced to be there to promote the captain.
Jeter's so uncomfortable on TV.
Yes.
Like I've never felt like A-Rod is so good at TV unless when he's sitting right next to Jeter. It's
Jeter
bad.
makes him better.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean Jeter makes him better?
By comparison.
Yeah, by comparison.
He also makes him more likable.
like
by
A-Rod's not
comparison.
great unless he's sitting next to Jeter on TV.
You just feel Jeter's saying words the whole time, and all you hear is, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. It really jumps off the screen. However, it made me watch that broadcast that I hadn't watched since its inception.
K-Rod.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I prefer it over like normal television baseball broadcast just because I'm not that into the game, and I like the statcast that they put up there. A-Rod had this thing going with his sleeve on the left hand where it was totally unbuttoned, but he didn't roll it up. You unbutton the sleeve to roll it up, but he didn't. He just had this out there. Like it was just so, it was like a wizard's robe, a sleeve. It was just really distracting the entire time.
Do you guys struggle with this? The rolling up of a dress shirt? It's like, do you want to give, how many rolls up do you go before you slide it past the elbow?
It's 4
2
for
rolls.
me. It's 4 for me.
Right to the base
4
of the
very
elbow.
tight
I like
rolls.
to do
Like,
as few rolls as possible before you get it past the elbow. You know what I'm saying? I like to do like one roll and then just slide it up past the elbow. And
you
hope
want
it
a tight
stays.
wind for me. I like a tight wind, so it's
one roll
sent
could be
sharply.
sloppy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, one roll is
what you
very
don't
sloppy.
do
Very sloppy,
is you
yes.
don't roll up
Yeah.
one sleeve and let the other one just dangle like A-Rod had for several
They got to be
innings.
aligned.
It was very distracting, almost as distracting as Michael K tossing the Fernando Tatis thing over to Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, nice.
It was funny to hear Jeter asked if he resented the one voter who didn't vote for him to go into the Hall of Fame. And A-Rod pipe in with, what about the 85% who didn't vote for me? Like it's just
Funny.
The end of the act is going to be a lounge act, and it's going to continue to be something that people pay attention to. I saw that A-Rod went Spanish a couple of weeks ago. He was trying to, his Spanish is not great. I was stunned this weekend to see that Ben Affleck's Spanish is better than A-Rod's.
That's incredible, for real?
How?
I don't know.
Oh, was that like Benifer like phase 2, where he was showing all the self-improvement that he has done and in an effort to win her back, he learned better Spanish than A-Rod.
I will do everything better than A-Rod except for baseball. You mentioned the Tatis thing, and I wanted to ask you guys a couple of things about this. First, have you guys noticed, Joe Sheehan wrote about this, and I'd be curious what you guys think. The Dominican players they get caught at a really disproportionate rate. They're cheating at an unusual rate given how they are in the big leagues. That's one part of this that I wanted to tackle. The other part is, does anyone outside of San Diego care? Because it's 80 games and the Padres dugout is mad about this, but I feel like we're almost totally immune to the steroid stuff.
I was just saying the same thing back here. Bonds and A-Rod can't get in the Hall of Fame, but the media seems to just be giving him, is it because he was hurt and he has this clause of like, oops, didn't mean to? Is that why the media doesn't care?
No one's buying his excuse.
Right, but
It's the
Nobody's buying
ringworm.
ringworm.
That
Yes.
one
but
was
yet,
good.
to Dan's point, nobody's
Ringworm
That was a
treatment.
first. Yeah.
other than his clubhouse, you don't see a lot of people crushing him, but yet Bonds can't get in the Hall of Fame.
I actually thought A-Rod was really good at trying to subtly campaign to Hall of Fame voters, because it's a weird thing about baseball. It is so punitive in that sport compared to other sports. Look at all the, like, no one's going to hold DeAndre Hopkins out of the Hall of Fame. I just reminded you and the audience that DeAndre Hopkins is presently serving a PED suspension. It doesn't happen in the other sports, but in baseball, it shuts you out of the most exclusive club. It is a saying that you wear forever. And what Alex Rodriguez was saying, he kept dubbing it as a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. He intended to do it over the course of his
Child's
career.
play.
But he's like, why wouldn't people learn from me? Look how much I had to work just to have a second chance in terms of public perception. Who would take this risk considering how good they are at testing right now? And Tatis had a lot of things going for him. I was disappointed too, just because I wanted to see that Padres lineup. I love Fernando Tatis. I love that he wants to be a star. He wants the attention. He's charismatic. He's got a great smile. He lights up a room. God damn it. Why'd you do this, Fernando?
I don't know how many people care. This is a superstar in the sport.
Not many. I mean, they just don't. Listen, I'd like to see the Padres in the postseason with one of the most exciting stars, young stars in the sports.
But if that's true, Stugotz, then what were we yelling about for all those years? Like, what were we
Well, they
doing?
were breaking records, Dan, that most people thought were unbreakable.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
people,
that was
the legacy writers were angry that the records that they believed in and identified with for so long were going the way of Marty McFly at the end of Back to the Future. They were just fading away, and they were fading away at the hands of Brady Anderson. Their entire history of this sport was being washed away over the course of 2 summers, and they held incredible resentment that is still stronger for them than it is for the likes of Fernando Tatis, and that part is very confusing to me.
Well, because once you've killed the history of the game, then the history is dead. And so there's really nothing left to preserve. And I think that's the feeling now, is that we've already gone through the life cycle of the history of this sport being dead. And so now I can't work up the same thing because it's already dead. I also think at the time, a lot of journalists were kind of made to look like boobs because they didn't see any of this coming. They didn't know it was happening. And so they're kind of playing catch up on, holy shit, this is happening under our nose and we didn't report this. We didn't say anything about it. It was only when Congress got into it that we actually reported stuff.
Once upon a time, those records meant something. You know that. I don't need to tell you. And now they don't really mean much. Like, if Sosa McGuire doesn't happen, do you know what a big story Aaron Judge is right now?
But you say those numbers don't matter, and I see that Pujols is going for 700, and Cabrera got 3,000, and longevity still matters, and the game changes, and we don't need to have the steroid conversation. I don't even know if I'm right about the fact. I'm guessing people in baseball do care that Tatis is about to lose half a season. I just, you've heard me marvel before at the fact that A-Rod keeps reinventing himself. We get very forgetful about the amount of judgment that we rained down on him when he was doing like orchestrated theatrics in the commissioner's office, kicking a briefcase to deny stuff, lying, running to Francesa and lying. And last night on the broadcast, we're asking him, hey, talk to us about Tatis's suspension. You got one twice as long, A-Rod, the longest in the history of the sport.
With very little sense of irony, I thought. But, when you water it down by putting it through the A-Rod prism and his television personality, I actually thought that there was some very good there. You should see how the Padres clubhouse truly reacted when Mike Clevenger says you have to grow up. Do you remember what happened with Mike Clevenger over in Cleveland?
That guy is scary, by the way.
What?
Clevenger.
He looks like a surfer.
Yeah, but it's the combination of look and name, Clevenger.
Yeah.
I think it's just the name that Stugotz is doing.
He's got the long hair.
It's not the look.
He does.
His look is not that intimidating, but he is saying that Fernando Tatis has to grow up. And there was
Machado saying we got here without him.
Well, Machado's
what are you doing? What are you doing to Machado?
What am I doing? I'm trying to remove politics from the equation. Machado is a tough one in that clubhouse. Play the game the right way. He's the locker room leader. I disagree with his politics vehemently. I am bummed that we don't get to see that lineup with Soto in it. A bunch of conspiracy theories were out there. Did the Padres know? Because that was like a very aggressive move considering all the money that they have tied up in Fernando Tatis, who already there might be some buyer's remorse because he had the accident. Now he's got the steroids thing. Everyone's worried about his maturity. But apparently the Padres didn't know about it until like we kind of knew about it. So put that conspiracy theory to bed.
Let me ask you guys, as the uniforms made an appearance, because it wasn't the teams. You don't give me Waddle or Tua or Tyreek Hill, I'm probably not going to watch your football game.
Smell that?
Mm-hmm.
That's McDaniel passing the sniff test.
Yep.
Already?
Good. Yeah.
You look good out there.
Yeah,
man.
that
Sneaky,
for me,
good-looking guy.
sideline posture is a key part of judging a coach.
He's no Philbin out there.
Great hoodie, great posture.
Whoa, wait a minute. So
Confidence.
you guys are in on the quarterback and the coach already.
Out there
Great.
checking on
Let's look
injured
careful on the
players.
quarterback.
Checking on players on one knee. He really cares.
By quarterback, you're talking about Thompson, right? Nice little game.
I was doing a fantasy draft last night with like some former Sports Illustrated
A little early.
coworkers.
You took Thompson?
No, but one of my former coworkers was on the board, and he's like, "Oh, I need a backup quarterback, but I really don't want to pick Tua." And I was like unmuting myself on Zoom to defend Tua, and then I was like, "I don't know why I'm doing radio right now." I was like, "Don't make me talk about the Dolphins. It's a Sunday. This is ridiculous."
Well, let's talk about your team then, because I thought you guys tell me some of your whatever it is from football that you were grabbing and either laughing about or interested in, because Pickett winning the end of the Steelers game. I like
He
the
looks
12
good.
the
George
12
Pickens,
years of
too.
Pickett at the University of Pittsburgh.
Picking it.
And then Matt Araiza, punt god. The Bills are gonna. I'm gonna hate that guy by the end of the season when they play the Dolphins, because he's gonna just keep launching 80-yard punts to
If
totally
they're punting
change
a
games.
lot, though, not so good for them.
The Bills down here never punt. I don't think we'll see Matt Araiza when he plays the Miami Dolphins. He scored like 100 points every time they played the Dolphins the last 3 years.
What else from the weekend?
Never has a team needed a weapon so last.
Yeah, they don't need him.
So little.
I mean,
The stunning part is he wasn't the first punter drafted. I heard the college football media, particularly the Shutdown Fullcast, hype up the punt god. He wasn't even the first punter taken. Seems impossible when he can hit 80-yarders.
Dude, Punt God got hyped up so much last year. He had a college game day package before the season was even over. They literally did a package on a punter from San Diego State.
He mounted a Heisman campaign.
I mean, they're bombs. You're not,
Well, you don't see that
It's
often.
not really hard to understand. Like he's
The
kind
game of field possession. What happened?
He's
I felt like I cut you off. I pulled out from the sentence. I was
You
saying
said-
it's a game of field position. I mean, that's
But
what
you
I was
said
going to
field
say.
possession, and then you
Yeah,
injected
and
all
then I
possession.
realized that Dan was talking. Yeah, Monday morning, Chris. I mean, what can I tell you?
he kicks it from one end zone to the other.
That's what Josh Allen's arm punts are for, though. Waste of a draft pick.
I mean, Chris really got me rattled. He should apologize.
Sorry about that.
Me too. Apologize to me.
Sorry.
Accepted.
Was there any football that you guys were interested in?
All of it.
Steelers game.
The
Yeah.
Steelers game was great because two Miami Hurricanes running backs scored touchdowns and showed some elusiveness. I actually had a lot of fun watching NFL preseason football, despite the fact that nobody played. Nobody important played.
I was excited to see the Packers-Niners game. I wanted to see how Jordan Love looks. He looked okay. He also at times looked very, very bad.
He does
But
not look okay.
Trey Lance, watch out. That dude is good.
Yeah, second straight
He's
preseason.
scary, man.
I mean, he had every opportunity to take the job away from Jimmy Garoppolo last season, and we all agree that Jimmy Garoppolo, there's an obvious upgrade to be made there, and he wasn't ready last year. But I liked watching the bad quarterbacks that are fighting for jobs. I was dialed in. I'm gambling again. I was dialed into the Washington-Carolina game because there felt like it was a four-way quarterback battle. You had Darnold, PJ Walker, Corral, and Baker Mayfield. Baker looked all right, which was pretty good. And then on the other side, you had Wentz, who still looks bad to me, and you had Sam Howell. I almost have the backdoor money line straight up win, but fell because of a 15-yard face mask that I'm still never going to forget.
Preseason football.
I saw a headline at the end of the weekend. Drew Lock and Geno Smith both put in good shifts, as Pete Carroll's like, oh no, you're doing quarterback competition preseason. Did you know that Justin Herbert has never played a single preseason snap? And I sort of thought, well, that means he'll never play a preseason snap. Because if he's fine now, why would you ever play him in the preseason?
It's kind of weird because he wasn't the starter his first year. He only became the starter after someone punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung with a needle.
Whatever happened to the token first series for the starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Right.
Bring that back.
Yeah.
I think
happened to the
Sean
guy that-
McVay killed it.
Punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung.
Good shout.
Is next week the dress rehearsal, or is week 3 still the dress rehearsal?
I believe it's week 2 now, Mike.
Is there a dress rehearsal?
I don't think there
Yeah.
are dress
Anymore?
rehearsals anymore. I think they're
week
done.
Week one.
I really think Sean McVay killed it. He was the first head coach that just decided not playing any of my starters all of preseason. And I think a lot of coaches have followed suit because Sean McVay is the genius coach guy. And so I think that you'll probably see maybe half the league play their starters, but I don't think you see most starters around the league for the entirety of preseason.
Starters were playing in Jacksonville, and Deshaun Watson was greeted with "You sick fuck" chants.
Yeah, that was good. That's a very efficient chant. After having that much time to show contrition, for them to trot him out in a local television interview with a woman and have him choose the words he chose, "I'm very sorry to the women I have impacted."
It wasn't a local television interview. It was with the Browns in-house media. And Aditi Kinkhabwala was the NFL reporter for like the AFC North, and now she works for the Browns. So that was completely orchestrated like within their organization to make sure that, I'm sure he would know that the question was coming, I would assume, and then he didn't face outside media reports after that
Can we
game.
examine that for a second? Can we examine the idea of a propaganda outlet getting its quarterback to act remorseful?
I mean, I think it's what probably any team would do. It's smart if you think that people aren't going to like
It's a move.
know where it's
It fooled
coming
you.
from or question it. Yeah.
It fooled you. You thought it was an independent.
Yes, it fooled me that it wasn't independent, but it was still ham-handed.
Yeah, and it was still gonna be orchestrated.
Fed to someone, because why would that be the first interview that he does?
If Deshaun does an exclusive interview with an outlet that's outside of Cleveland Browns media, their hands are going to be all over it too, and there's going to be a negotiation, and it's going to be someone that they land on if he ever does one that Watson's camp wants to do it with. You could already draw conclusions as to who it might be, given on how the story was reported initially and throughout. This was yet another bad look in a series of bad looks. He admitted to what he did, so like we're dropping the lie that he was completely innocent, but there are still, to me, not enough questions. Like, okay, now we know he did this. We're all okay with this. We have all made this decision. There's none of that. There's none of those pointed, direct questions.
But don't you guys think it's interesting just the handling of the marketing aspects of this, where at no point had he shown remorse, and then the Browns send out a statement that's from the organization saying he is deeply remorseful, when, again, at no point had anyone, not the arbiter, not anyone, seen anything in the way of remorse. And then what you get is one sentence of remorse with the word impacted in it. After all the months you've had to think about how this is going to be addressed, that's how you address it?
This is going to be sickening logic, but this is what I think is happening. Deshaun Watson knew he did this shit the entire time, but he had to maintain he didn't, not just because he thought he could win his NFL investigation, but because he was subject to lawsuit. You can't have your legal counsel is probably advising you, hey, in the public eye, let's not admit to doing these things right now. We're trying to keep these settlements low. And to my knowledge, there's still one pending lawsuit out there that hadn't been settled. She may have hit the jackpot right now with these public comments in this NFL investigation that's going to go into it, because now you have Deshaun Watson, although still using very careful language, admitting that this did happen while everyone else had settled.
We've got an assortment of vacations here over the course of the summer. So Billy has been in and out here, and I wanted to talk to him about what's going on with the Marlins, because it's 15 games now where they have scored 3 or fewer runs. The record is 19. They've gone totally impotent offensively, and there were a number of Marlins related things that I wanted to discuss with him, because the few Marlins fans that there are plenty pissed off. The other day they got charged twice for a doubleheader. They had to go in and out of the stadium, and I know all the teams do this, but come on, what are we doing? You got to pay twice to go.
You got to go in,
you
go
pay
back out,
twice.
come
They
back
make the
New
guys
crowd,
wait
Mike.
all day.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Since when did they start doing that?
No, they've been doing that. Everybody does that.
What? No.
But they shouldn't do it when you
two
only have
games.
7,000 fans.
In college, I love the doubleheader. I saw David Weathers return to a Marlins uniform for one game. I got to see 2 losses.
I think actually what's going on is worse than Marlins fans being outraged, or Marlin fan being outraged. The couple that there are, they're just indifferent right now. That's how I feel. Like I couldn't be less interested.
I do not think that that's what was happening. The trading deadline, I think there was some hope there. I thought they wanted the team to do something.
They were just 5 games out what felt like a month ago. They were playing well. They had this ace pitcher. There was hope, and
Well, they still have them.
in the last month. All that hope has been ripped away, and I've seen segments of Marlins Twitter long for the days of Jeffrey Loria. People were posing.
People were faking hope. People were like, wow, we're 5.5 out. We should be in this. But you're really watching the team. This team stinks. This offense, not good. It's just like, okay, maybe we're 5.5 out, but this team is not close at
It's
all.
hard to be excited and have faith when you're in that same division with 3 really good teams
who are willing
spend
to
a lot more money than you
who are
do.
willing to spend.
Yeah.
So, like the crux of the argument in saying that they missed Jeffrey Loria was Loria didn't spend either. But now you have an owner that's spending even less. And there isn't this great farm that you were supposed to totally rebuild. There really isn't a path for them getting out of this over the next few years. They probably have to trade Sandy to get onto that path. And it's like Stugotz
Don't
outlined.
trade Sandy.
The
They
division
do
is
not
insane.
trade Sandy yet. Just don't stop it. Stop it.
Well, is Bruce Sherman?
Stop it.
Is Bruce Sherman a worse owner than Jeffrey Loria?
You need to stop it. You just got here 6 minutes ago, and now you're trading Sandy. Knock it off.
Yeah, well, I started gambling 6 minutes ago, and let me tell you something. I'm fading the Marlins often. That is a very bad baseball team.
But they traded Stanton, Yelich, and Ozuna to retool the club. You can't now trade Sandy, right? I mean,
yeah, but we saw that out. It didn't, like they got to the playoffs on the back of some of those.
Will you
moves.
stop it? Stop it. They're going to sign. He is
Billy's
signed.
not here, Dan. So
He's a sure thing. Like Billy's not here. Billy, we will get Billy's thoughts on this. We will put them in a
Just
local
don't know
hour.
when. Yeah.
At some point this week, Billy will give you his Marlins thoughts. But Witty was off a couple of days last week, and I now want to get criticisms from people about the show when they're not on the show. How many of these do you have, Witty?
I have 3 of them.
3 observations that are critical of whom?
Just the general conversation, I would say. I wouldn't say it's directed at any one individual. You're the subject of one. Mike was the subject of another, and the general show's inability to know who Jamal Williams was really bothered me for some reason.
Okay, number 3.
You could just say me.
Oh, yeah.
It was
You know
me.
what? Yeah. So this one's aimed at Jessica. How in the world did you confuse Jamal Adams for Jamal Williams? I mean, this is a Detroit Lions thing. Never thought of Jamal Adams in the context of the Lions. Jamal Williams went viral on social media. That video had like 6 million views. I barely know any Lions, and somehow I knew that was Jamal Williams.
I think it was the first name.
yeah.
Well, I actually realized
Good
after
guess.
I realized after I said it, because I was wondering the same thing, Witty, because they don't even play the same position. I had, for some reason, written Jamal Adams down on my notepad. So I think I was reading.
Just randomly? You
Reading-
wrote something on a
Yes.
notepad for no reason?
Yeah, I guess. And I just read
What else
that.
does it say on your notepad right now?
Right now it says athletes who connote birds.
Oh, nice.
Wait a minute, are you doing your own
Sylvia
show
Fowles,
over there?
Larry
You're-
Bird, Robin Lopez, Lynn Swan,
Ted Hendricks.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stork.
it's a good show.
I feel like we've done that show a number of times.
Well, that's why it
before.
didn't make it to air. But
We're trying to
I
find
wrote
the
it down.
elusive first name bird, last name
Yes.
bird.
Exactly.
It's a holy grail.
Jay Ajayi? No, 2 J's.
Whittingham, what was the second observation?
I was screaming at my podcast platform with the conversation you were having about the New York Mets ratings. I was shouting. I was stood in the shower. I'm like, I need to look up local television ratings. And look up local television ratings. I did, Dan. So here's what happened. So you were making the argument that the Mets game doing 555,000 viewers was somehow a small audience, comparing it to a nationally televised, highly questionable. The New York Mets doing a 5 rating on a local regional sports network is astounding in New York. That is so if you did the math, from like 550,000 in New York, that's like 410,000 in LA, 350,000 in Chicago, and you kind of go on and on. That's basically the equivalent of a 6 or 7 million viewer audience nationwide. This is on one regional sports network that is also playing a game at the same time against the Yankees, who also draw a segment of the baseball viewing audience. So for a Mets game to do 550,000 is incredible.
Okay, you are insane with rage. Thank you for
Well, you
correcting.
should be.
I mean, I
correcting me.
did correct him at the time, but it was a lot kinder than you.
I did not realize that I had summoned this kind of passion from you, and I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
Nerd.
Is that directed at me or at him or?
No, it's at him.
Yeah.
In winning, he actually lost. He doesn't know that.
You know what? I'll take the L. Yeah, that's like roughly a 5 rating. Jets games do a 7. And like that's the NFL. Barely the NFL, but
yes.
still, like the NFL is so much bigger than any other television product. For a baseball game to do something similar to an NFL game is insane.
How
And the
can you be
NFL
an-
does try their best to make sure that the Giants and Jets aren't playing at the same time.
How can you be an asshole in a single syllable like that?
I like emphasizing the when you say a singular thing. That's not
I hate
It's a
it.
good move.
And what is your number one observation from your time off?
You guys said that Al Pacino was the worst kisser in the history of the movies. For me, it's Tom Cruise. I saw
What are you talking
I
about?
saw the movie Top
Pacino's
Gun.
sloppy, man.
Part of the homoeroticism of that movie is how bad Tom Cruise is at kissing in that movie. There is the most loveless relationship in the history of the movies, in the movie Top Gun, you can tell when he's kissing women in that movie that he's just thinking about the boys.
No.
Like, it's loveless. It is passionless.
The boys.
He's singing about the boys.
Hanging with the boys. There's a whole song dedicated to it during the volleyball scene. I will say it's the second most loveless relationship of that franchise, behind the Jennifer Carpenter one.
How can Tom Cruise possibly be a worse kisser than Al Pacino? That's not true. Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Worse movie kiss.
God damn it, Jennifer Connelly. God.
Tom Cruise in Top Gun
Jennifer Carpenter was in White Chicks.
or Al
I
Pacino.
saw White Chicks again over the last few
No,
days.
you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Really?
Let me tell you, does not hold up. This movie does not get made. I mean, I felt bad laughing at it.
Rory Sparrow.
What's a Rory?
It's a bird.
I know, but they're
Wait,
the sparrow's a bird.
Rory-
Rory's not a
Rory-
bird.
Yeah, look it up. I mean,
Rory Bird?
yeah.
You've got the
I feel like I'm close.
The
I
Rory
mean,
is not a bird.
oh, that's so disappointing.
I was setting up and a group of, I think Swedish or Finnish tourists like knocked on the door and started asking me a question about where they were supposed to meet their tour group. And I was like, oh, I'm not the manager.
I'm not Mr. Manager.
I love that he's just joining us from a room in Scotland here. Go ahead and
That's
play
right.
the stat of the day. Mike Schur is going to do this daily until we run out of time.
Start of the day, start of the
Be any
day.
day.
It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
It is presented by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, guys. It's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Since 1969, a total of 12 men have walked on the moon. And the Detroit Lions have won a total of 1 playoff game. So if you're keeping score at home, it's men on the moon 12, Lions 1.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate your time. We were talking before you came on here about the Tatis suspension. Does anybody
Oh, gosh.
does anyone care anymore?
Yeah. Yes, a lot of people care. He's one of the best young baseball players to come along in a very long time. And the Soto trade was exciting just because Soto went to the Padres, but also because Tatis was coming back and at any moment. And that 2-3-4 was going to be Machado, Soto, Tatis. That was going to be incredible. And he's such a knucklehead that he ruined it for everybody. Like that, they were poised to make the playoffs and I believe challenge the Dodgers. I think they would have given the Dodgers a fight. And now they're still good. They'll still maybe do something, but it's such a bummer. He's not going to play for the first month of next year. He's going to be out for 32 games or something next season. And it really sucks because that team was shaping up to be so exciting. It's a real bummer.
I love that he ruined it for everybody. He ruined it for himself and his team. I mean, but I'm with you.
he did.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I feel like the promise of the Soto trade was that they were a for real contender. And now they're kind of not like that. They'll, who knows, baseball's weird, but it's just such a disappointment. I'm in Scotland and I'm like staying up until like 3 a.m. to read news of Fernando Tatis' steroid suspension. That's how I'm spending my vacation.
But no,
So you care.
Forgive me though.
Yeah.
I don't mean I know that people care about how it affects the standings competitively, and I know that people care about baseball and Dodgers and Padres care. What I'm asking you is the caring about the outrage around steroids. I'm talking about that that they're tossing it last night to A-Rod in the booth to talk about Tatis.
Oh, really? What did he have to say about
Oh,
everything?
who cares? Like, what? He was deeply remorseful now after lying and cashing all the checks and kicking a briefcase in the commissioner's office. And it feels like we're numb to that stuff.
Yeah, I think we are to some extent. I mean, I can't believe that he used some. I mean, everybody's using stuff, right? Like they're using stuff that isn't detectable or that is advanced beyond the ability to find it in your saliva or whatever. I can't believe he used one of the things that they test for. I mean, what are we doing, man? Come on, get on board, join the 21st century and use something that isn't detectable by the testing system. But I don't know. I don't know if but I think the outrage has died down considerably. But it is it's shocking when one of these guys gets caught. It's also still the case that when it happens in football, no one cares because everyone's like, yeah, of course they are, and they should. But in baseball such a checkered history with it, and it's so embarrassing for the sport that I think it does still capture people's imaginations, at least briefly, when a baseball player tests because of the history and the legacy of the cheating.
Well, why is that? Why is such the discrepancy between other sports and baseball? We tried to peel away at it a little bit in the previous one, but I actually thought that part of Alex's contribution when he was asked about Tatis was a little illuminating in that he used the opportunity to publicly lament, like, guys, I made this mistake and my career, I'm totally shut out of the most exclusive club. It is so punitive in baseball, and Michael Kay was agreeing with him. It doesn't really make sense when you compare it to the other sports.
Yeah, well, I think football is so macho that I think if guys are using stuff that makes them stronger or heals their injuries, I think just the fans and the league are generally more forgiving. And also the baseball cheating undid the most exciting and dramatic thing that had happened in the sport in decades, which was the Sosa McGuire thing. So I think and I think there's less of a sense of like, you have to do this to survive than there is in football. So who knows? I think it has to do more with this kind of effete, and also like extremely patriotic image that baseball had at the time in the late 90s of like, this is America's game and stuff. So that when they were caught cheating in America's game, it was a real, how dare you kind of attitude that became prevalent, as opposed to, again, football is just like, yeah, I would also do that if I played football. I would also try to make my muscles bigger and heal my injuries faster. So who knows? I think it's probably, I think it's the McGuire Sosa stain is still at some level the reason that people are freaked out by it.
Well, a lot of those voices that were shutting them out are still around. A lot of those voices that felt embarrassed by that are still around and are still gatekeepers. But let's take football out of the equation, because I do believe that there's some sense of, yeah, of course you are. I'd be surprised if you weren't. But let's make it basketball. Guys are aging right now the way that baseball players started aging in the 90s. There's really no precedent for how good some of these players are. Players like Al Horford are dipping into the fountain of youth, it seems. And
keep Al Horford's name out of your mouth. Unless you have an accusation to levy.
I'm not. I'm going to use a hypothetical.
That's what hard work looks like, Mike.
Let's use a player.
That's right, Stu. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use a player like Al Horford, almost certain to be a Hall of Famer. But let's say it comes out that he was doing stuff to prolong his career, made a mistake, air quotes. I don't believe he'd be held out of the Hall of Fame. If he were in baseball, he would be.
Yeah, you're probably right. And again, the Hall of Fame thing is still is because of this like stodgy old attitude about America's national pastime and whatever. But also, who knows what's going on in basketball? But did you read that thing about Iguodala a couple of years ago about how obsessed he had gotten with sleep as like a healing tool, and how they wear these crazy monitors and he checks his sleep with like the minute and charts it and everything. I think that there are other reasons for the ways in which athletes are aging better now that are not illegal. I think they're much better about like understanding their bodies and healing and sleep and nutrition and all that stuff than they used to be. I mean, they're also probably doing a bunch of other stuff, but I just think in general, it's like the way that when you see the Cheers cast from the first season and they're all like 34 years old and you're like, that's not what a 34-year-old looks like now. I think just humans have gotten better at aging and we understand aging a lot better. And they also fly to Germany and they get that weird platelet, blood spinning platelet infusion and stuff that is just their own blood that's been oxygen enriched that isn't allowed in the US and is allowed over there. There's like a million things that they're doing that aren't just injecting themselves with banned substances like everybody assumes they are.
What are you doing in Scotland? Can it be told?
I'm traveling the world in search of stats for the show.
Okay.
I've starting in the British Isles, and I'm going to move east through Istanbul, and I'll get all the way to South Korea, and then I'll loop back around. I'm combing the world for the best stats.
Expecting that trip or what, Mike? What are you doing here? Is that
it's being billed through Stugotz's Meadowlark expense account.
Excellent.
Hildy told me it was okay.
Good.
So I'm just gonna,
Well, enjoy.
Staying in a very nice hotel.
Check out the podcast with Mike Schur and Joe Posnanski. Thank you, sir. We'll get to Stugotz's weekend observations in a second, but we have what appears to be something that deserves an announcement. A listener has lost all respect for Mike.
Oh, wow.
Not some respect, not a little bit of respect.
All of it.
All of the respect has been lost for Mike. We always want to announce when that happens around here. So the person writes in, lost all respect for Mike Ryan after his wire take. He was on rocky ground, pun intended, with his Creed as a Rocky movie take, but now he's taking a bridge too far.
You don't get the show.
Do you take a bridge too far?
Never heard it before.
Why is a bridge too far?
Maybe you went over the wrong bridge. You went to the furthest bridge. You were supposed to get off at the closer bridge.
I'd rather a bridge be too far than too short, right? Because you don't want to end up in the water.
You'd rather overshoot the target.
Ravine or ditch, yeah.
But you never take a bridge too far. I don't think no one's ever said that before.
Where did Billy come from?
Oh, yeah.
My mother.
Time now for Stugotz's weekend observations.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan.
Oof.
What happened?
You want to try that one again?
No, I'm good. I had to work it out. We're good. Dan. Every year.
Did try it again.
Dan.
The second one was my favorite.
Every year in early February, our country is left in a state of depression because it leaves us. We start the cycle over again. We wait for it, and we wait some more. And while the NBA playoffs may give us a little jolt, eventually, what we are all left with is just baseball. We wait. We wait some more. But Dan, over the weekend, I saw something.
Yeah.
I saw Patrick Mahomes complete a pass to Travis Kelce. I saw the Jets doing jet-type things. I saw Soldier Field for the 87th consecutive game not looking like a field that people should be playing football on. And Dan, just like that, the NFL is back.
Yeah.
Excited?
I can't believe you saw Mahomes complete a pass to Kelce.
I did.
That was a thing that happened during the NFL preseason?
Yeah, they started Mahomes. I think he got 2 drives.
What?
He looked good.
What are they thinking?
I think what they're thinking is, hey, we're still good without Tyreek Hill. Here, we'll show you.
Little message?
And they did.
Sending a little message.
Yes.
Bullies.
Yep. Speaking of back, playing in the sand, Witty, whatever those days are, I'll be off those days. It's next year, but it's back.
So they're not breaking up?
No.
God damn it.
Exciting. Dan, I want you to hold on to something.
What do you want me to hold on to?
Well, what I'm about to tell you is jarring. You're not holding on to anything.
You think I'm going to be knocked over by this, or that I need to
would hold on to something if I were you.
So that I can have my equilibrium because of how hot this take is going to be?
It's not a hot take. It's just a fact, and I would hold on to something.
Okay.
Mind-blowing.
All right. Let's hear.
Dan, Andy Dalton is a saint. The red rifle.
I am so glad I was holding on to something.
That's crazy.
I right now am shook.
I missed that one.
Wait a minute. That's not a joke.
How is
No. The red rifle is a saint.
that red hair under the gold helmet?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Well, that explains why Simeon is in Chicago.
Oh, that's a spoiler alert.
Oh, damn it. I was betting on that one. I'm sorry.
You don't need to hold on to anything for that one, though.
Stu, do you know who the head coach of the Bears is?
No.
I don't either. And I just discovered that I didn't because I felt really bad for the coach of the Bears because Patrick Mahomes went 6 for 7 for 60 yards and a touchdown. And I feel like he goes into that preseason game thinking, I won't see Mahomes and Kelsey. And then they all come flying. That had to have been an avalanche for your first game as a head coach. Does anyone here know who the coach of the Bears is?
No.
Matt Eberfluss.
Okay.
Show off.
But I'm a
Man.
Bears fan.
Where'd they get him
A
from?
little bit.
Indianapolis?
He was the Colts defensive coordinator.
I knew he was a Colts
Big
something.
action guy. Was at Toledo for a while.
Who's the Saints head coach?
Put it on the poll, please.
No one knows the Saints head
no,
coach.
I think it's Dennis Allen.
Oh,
Is it
really?
Dennis
Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
can-
I get that one too.
I can,
The
he can
Bears-
wear the
Who's-
shit out of
hold
a
on.
performance long sleeve.
Who's the Vikings head coach?
Kevin O'Connell.
Put it on the poll
Our question was for Stugotz.
Oh, I'm sorry.
at LeBatard Show. Do you know who
Also
the
does a
coach
podcast for The Ringer, I think.
Kellen Mond, by the way,
of the Bears is?
has that look.
Commanders.
Commies.
Mond?
Oh, no, Vikings.
Viking.
Damn it.
Kirk Cousins was out. Kellen Mond with the number ones.
Kirk Cousins, COVID.
Correct.
Again?
Yep. Take a shot.
I mean, we just saw somebody get it twice in 5 days who famously has boosters.
How do
No,
you
the
spell the
president.
name? How do you spell the name of the Bears coach? Because it's a wonderfully cartoonish last name.
Eberflus.
Eberfluss.
Whatever.
I think it's EBERFLUS. Eberfluss. Love that name.
I'm going to put myself out there right now. That Bears team does not look good if they lose Roquan Smith. It doesn't look good with Roquan Smith on it. Their receivers are, outside of one, nothing really cooking there for Justin Fields. No wonder he's taking the longest time in the week 1 of the preseason to deliver the ball.
Mhm.
It looks bad out there.
Good Bears take.
Welcome to being a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you're noticing that they have major structural problems within their organization?
Yeah, here's my hot take. Bears not good.
Give yourself a beat.
And for some reason, they only hire people named Matt. There's too many Matts around that organization.
Definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrible analysis.
Well,
That there's too many Matts?
Yes.
But it's right. It's correct. And I was the only one who knew that their head coach's first name was Matt.
Yeah.
So point for me, point minus
You're
two.
also
too many
the only
Matts
one
or is
who
it
knew
two
that his
Matts?
last name was Eberfluss. Like,
Yeah, so how's that for analysis, Dan?
it's as bad as Stugotz's analysis before when he said, Trey Lance, look out.
I'll say it again soon somewhere.
He was right, though.
Saw a feature on John Ruiz. Definitely looks like a guy who does everything by the book.
Thank you.
I say that lovingly, of course.
It's so ridiculous.
He's on the up and up, this
It
guy.
is so funny that Miami's got the most cartoonish one of these.
It's perfect.
He's been cleaning it up on
He's
Twitter.
great. I love him.
Yeah, he's been cleaned up.
What's the Life Wallet stock price at?
The fact that it's a stock price is the win. Okay? It went public.
Right.
That-
It's legit.
It won. He won. Well, he
Only
won
thing.
by going. The money that he cashed out probably is legit.
So the fact that it started at 10.78 and now is $1.47.
Ah,
that was really on.
semantics.
That was really on who priced that initially. What was that valuation? Come on.
Terrible job.
How do evaluations happen, Mike?
I actually don't know.
Are you blaming Wall Street?
How valuations happen and the head coach of the Bears. Things we don't know.
Joe Flacco, home game against the Ravens, week 1. Can you say revenge game?
Oh, come on,
we
man.
got it. Yes.
Why? We have
I got my
talked.
guy.
We've been on for
Look
almost
good.
2 hours now, and you have not mentioned Zach Wilson's
And I
hurt
was.
now, and the. Is your season over already?
Yep. Unless we get Jimmy G. What do do you think, Dano? We have a need.
Since he was a Raven,
Yeah.
Joe Flacco has been a Bronco, a Jet,
Yeah.
an Eagle, and now a Jet again.
He looks good. He'll always look good, though, right?
Statuesque.
Yeah.
You've always found him very handsome.
He is handsome.
Yeah, but
So have you.
yeah,
I
well,
think you and we've agreed.
well, no, you are
A lot
really
of
putting
surface
yourself out
area
there.
on the face. A lot of surface area.
You
Yeah.
look like their logo in Baltimore.
Jessica, did you just mouth? What does that mean?
Surface area on the face.
It's a funny phrase.
You
is
know
all
when
it
you
is.
see it.
There's a lot of surface area, like a lot of face. That's
What
all.
are you, a carpenter?
No, like Bo Pelini.
Yeah, a lot of face there.
See?
Yeah.
You know it when you see it.
Right. Ton of face.
So much face.
Mm-hmm. Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of face.
That is true.
A ton of face.
Big Ben.
A
Yeah.
lot of neck
Mhm.
and jaw.
Just a lot of skin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pandemics, abortion, global warming, gun control, UFOs, Elon Musk, red states, blue states. The one thing we can all agree on is football. It unites us.
I don't think that's true.
It
I
does?
do. Oh, kind of.
I don't think
know.
anything you just
What?
said is true.
There are
no idea.
SEC chants coming to your television in 3 Saturdays.
Yeah, but football's on.
When you say it unites us, you sick fuck as a chant. It didn't feel uniting.
It doesn't even unite the Hurricanes fan base itself. We're constantly fighting each other in the 400 level.
But it feels good.
It does.
That's not the same as it uniting
I know,
everybody.
but for a month, we need some feel good, Dan. And for, a couple hours, we all feel good.
Football unites us the same way that politics unites us, in that we all have opinions and none of them really matter.
Will Zalatoris, do it in a major. Oh, here we go. Trevor Siemian. Go ahead, Mike. Tell him.
He's a Chicago Bear. He was looking good.
No, come on.
Yeah, he looked good.
He
Knock
was.
it off.
Two
Cash that
tutties.
over.
Knock
Yeah,
it
two
off.
A lot of
tutties.
overs
Yeah.
cashing.
shut up.
What did overs go? Like 14-3?
I mean, he is back home.
Why are you saying shut up?
That's right. He's a Wildcat.
Trevor Siemian.
He can win you a ball game.
He can. He
No, he
can win you a
cannot.
ball game. He can win you
Yes,
a ball
he
game.
can win you a ball game.
Yeah.
A game.
And then defenses prepare for him, and it's over. I mean, but he can win you a game.
Yeah, there was a couple times in New Orleans last year where you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He can win me this game.
Yep. I think he did.
Jessica just gave you a literal side eye. What do you
I don't associate Trevor Siemian winning a game with his performance in New Orleans last year.
He won a
Did
game.
he win a game?
I believe he
I
did.
think he did win a
There you
game.
go.
Yes.
Did he
Apologize
beat
to Trevor
Did he beat the
Siemian.
Cowboys? He did beat a team last year as the Saints quarterback played.
Did they lose to the Bucks?
He went 0-4 as a starter.
Okay, but
That's not the game
that's
he
not
wins.
the game that he won.
No. Your quarterback has
The
to get
Jameis
hurt.
injury game.
Simeon has to come in.
He came
the
in.
defense isn't prepared. I'll win that game.
I believe he beat Brady, and then Jameis Winston was celebrating on
I
his
believe you're
crutches
right, Mike.
in the locker room.
Yep, I'm with you on this, Mike.
That's
But he can't
That's
start
correct.
the
That's
game.
correct. I can't argue it.
He won a game.
See, he can't start a game. That's what I was saying. Defenses prepare. It's over. That's it. When they know he's the starter, you're doomed. I mean,
But he can win you that game. He comes in as the
We
backup.
haven't prepared for Simeon. It's asinine what you're saying.
Oh, what a game.
That a defensive coordinator is like, oh no, I forgot to prepare for Simeon.
To be fair, it's better than whatever Ian Book did last year against the Dolphins.
And to be fair, if you did prepare for Taysom Hill, maybe Trevor Simeon is a curveball that you weren't expecting.
right. Wins you a game. Loses you 4.
Although it was Jameis Winston who was on the crutches. Is that the one where he was dancing in the locker room on crutches in the
Yep.
smoke?
Yep, Steve Martin also.
Nice of National fans to give Juan Soto a standing ovation for turning down $444 million that resulted in him being traded away from the Nationals. What are they doing? Anthony Conte
Wait, what?
Antonio Conte.
Anthony.
That's what his friends from the block call him.
Exactly.
Anthony Conte is a youth soccer coach in New Jersey, not the manager of Spurs.
Tony Pizza. And look Thomas Tuchel in the eye when you shake his hand.
I've heard so many pronunciations of Chelsea's manager's name. I have not heard Tuchel.
Tuchel?
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess.
It's one of the appropriate pronunciations.
Thank you. Deshaun Watson.
Tony Pizza. That's how Thomas Tuchel should have started.
That was a quick pivot by him into Tony Pizza.
That's how Thomas Tuchel should have started the press conference.
There was a Reddit post a few weeks ago that went viral, and it was this girl saying that her boyfriend wouldn't stop calling her Tony Pizza. I've been trying to work it into the show ever
You got
since.
it.
Antonio Conte. The unlikeliest of sources for Stugotz.
Deshaun Watson. Way too little, way too late. Dan, you know what the T in Fernando Tatis Jr. stands for?
Testosterone.
It stands for tested positive. Testosterone, pretty good though. Not bad.
Thank you.
Devin Funchess is a lion.
Have you guys watched any of this Hard Knocks? So much gibberish from Dan Campbell. It's so much unrelenting gibberish.
It's inflating the price on the win total.
Is it really?
Yeah, people are really responding.
Every year it
Bettors
happens.
are really responding to the Dan Campbell BS.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for the day that the University of Texas makes a better offer to their quarterback than the NFL can because of the rookie contracts. That's going to happen, right? That can happen, can it?
I don't know. What are the rookie contracts? Like
It's like that
I think
5-year, $20 million deal.
I think we're many years yet from the quarterback scoring
Arch is
for
there,
that
though,
much.
Dan.
Is he?
Well, 3-year, $30 million to stay. Oh, God, that happens. The J in Jimmy Garoppolo stands for Jets. Dan,
You're really talking yourself into this.
you know what the W in Zach Wilson stands for?
Not W.
It stands for We Want Arch. Death, taxes, and Brian Hoyer having a seat in the Patriots quarterback room. Hoyer basically is a seat. He's become a piece of furniture in the Patriots quarterback room. Have a seat in the Hoyer.
Put it on the poll, Whittingham. Has Brian Hoyer become a piece of furniture in the Patriots quarterback room?
Trey Lance, watch out.
Again with this. So good the first time.
I mean, at this point, Hoyer should have naming rights to the
wait a
Patriots
minute.
quarterback
Did you
room.
steal your Trey Lance watch out observation that you wrote
That
down?
was in there.
You used it earlier. You stole it from your batch of notes, the Trey Lance watch out analysis.
Yes, that's what was interesting from the preseason. I felt like I needed to give you something. I gave you Trey
in
Lance.
the exact same
I threw
words.
Jordan Love. I made it up on the fly. I mean, I didn't care about Love.
Sometimes he has an observation that is so good and helpful to the conversation that is going that he will just steal from his own weekend observations. And that's how good Trey Lance watch out was.
You had a perfect quarterback rating. Watch out.
Too many mats, too.
They're going to get the best quarterback from that draft. It's unbelievable.
Is it? Like, what part of it is
The
unbelievable?
Jets
That-
could have had him. They didn't have to do
Oh,
anything.
but you wanted the guy from North Dakota? Like, you know,
I want the guy that Shanahan wants.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I mean, I don't know. I thought you were pretty excited about Zach Wilson.
I was.
Just like you were excited about Sam Darnold.
I asked Chris Sims once if the Niners were picking second, would they have taken Trey Lance or Zach Wilson? And he told me Trey Lance.
Didn't Tony Romo say that Sam Darnold was the best of that entire class? That he was going to be an all-time great. Isn't that something that Tony Romo said?
Of his own respective draft class?
No,
I think
yes.
that entire draft class is in Carolina now.
Yeah, the whole draft class.
But that he thought that Sam Darnold had the best chance to be an all-time great.
So right now, I believe he did. Right now, the leader for best in that draft class is probably Mac Jones.
Probably.
Woof.
By the way, a headline from CBS Sports in 2019, Tony Romo thinks that Sam Darnold has the it factor.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, I just think he's got that thing that the great ones have.
Maybe he meant IT. I think he's good at computers.
Shit factor.
Manchester United are an absolute shambles. Just complete shite. Man, you. By the way, ringworm. No laughing matter. It's not. I had it.
Did you?
Yeah, right around my eye.
I had it when I was like in middle school.
Yeah.
It needs a new name then because it sounds ridiculous.
It hurts though.
It needs a better name because it gives off like I want to, like if someone says I have ringworm, it makes like just the words together. I want to laugh at you, but I need, if you're telling me it's
Not a
serious,
laughing matter,
it needs
though.
a new name then is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What do you propose?
I don't know. I'll work on it, but I'm just saying like ringworm.
Something more menacing?
Worm is I think what does it.
But I think it's a worm.
Okay. I'm just saying that's the word that makes people think this is ridiculous.
What about tapeworms? Do you think those are silly too?
They sound worse. Tapeworms sound worse.
It should be snake, ring snake.
Put it on the poll.
Ring snake. Ooh.
Whittingham at LeBatard Show.
It's not a snake.
Which sounds worse, ringworm or tapeworm?
Brace yourself, Dan. It's another big one.
Hold on.
Just brace yourself.
So I don't need to hold on here. You just want me to brace myself.
Brace yourself. Case Keenum is a Buffalo Bill. And so is O.J. Howard. Oh, man. Mind-blowing. Matt Araiza. Is that his name?
Tony Pizza.
Doing the playoffs. The punt god. Top 5 punter-kicker nicknames.
You got 5 of these.
I do. Number 5, Matt Araiza, the punt god. Number 4, Greg Zuerlein, Legatron. Number 3, Adam Vinatieri, Automatic Adam. That's a gem.
I've never heard anyone call
Jameson-
that.
That's his nickname. His friends call him that.
Jamison Crowder is also a Bill.
What? Huh? Jason Hansen, Thunderfoots. And of course, Luke Rosa, the toe. Such a great name, Rosa. Here come the Bravos. Mike McDaniel, sneaky good looking. Kenny Pickett, amazing quarterback hair. Anyone else wondering what the hell happened at Camp Lejeune? Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
Billy, for several months now, I have heard you in the other room having conversations about trying to get a boat, trying to get a ship, trying to get a yacht. And then I turn on First Take today, and Stephen A. Smith is returning to work in an orange suit with a graphic that legitimately reads, "Is it too early to panic for the Cowboys?"
Is it?
It's a good question.
They had 17 penalties. Michael Irvin's on a boat. Stephen A. Smith is on a boat. Why are we on a boat? Do we know how that sounds? Does it sound good? Or are you hearing the engine hum? There's a degree of difficulty. You've been trying to put together a boat for our show for a while. Where are we in boat negotiations?
Well, now it seems like we lost the boat battle, right? And ours wasn't even a boat. It was a floating mansion. Don't sell it short. And we had all kinds of grand ideas we were going to have on this floating mansion that just haven't happened yet. And I don't know who we can blame other than Hildy, to be perfectly honest with you.
Fair. Totally fair.
Not to, point fingers, but geez, we've been talking about this since November. What's going on?
Hildy already dressed all of you down while we were watching the boat show. She said, you know how they got a boat? I bet they gave their producer a date.
Wow. All bark and no bite, that Hildy.
How does it sound? Because you guys,
it looks fake.
You guys thought it was a green screen because the water, like, it's not just a boat, it's a boat that's moving, and he's near, Stephen A. is in an orange jacket near the motor, and I would think that would be loud.
It's not going very fast, though. I just heard it in queue. There's some ambient noise, as you should have if you're broadcasting live from a boat. And also, I don't think that's a yacht.
No, it's not.
It looks like a pontoon.
Yeah.
It looks like a leisure boat. There's a few engines on the back.
Little speedboat.
I would,
look, that
I
angle,
would describe
Mike,
a pontoon as a
Look at the
leisure
angle,
boat.
Mike. Look at the angle now. It's definitely a yacht. It's definitely some sort of yacht.
Do we know why they're on it?
It doesn't have the
Why
railing.
not?
Actually,
Yeah,
it's
why
got
not?
it's got to be a lot larger to make room for all the production staff and catering and Stephen A's jackets.
At first, I was thinking it was the Hornblower, which if you've been in your 20s in New York City, you've probably been on a booze cruise on the Hornblower at some point. It goes up and down the Hudson, up the East River, and then back, and then everyone gets off and pukes all over the bushes in the West Village. But no, it looks like it's much, much smaller than the Hornblower.
Who's driving? Because Molly's the captain. She has the captain hat.
Right.
Acting very irresponsibly right now for a captain.
Uh-oh. We
Yeah.
just had a boat.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
it's on auto captain.
The
Oh,
graphic
there's the ferry.
also
They're
reads,
not on the ferry.
how much leverage does Lamar have now, Stugotz?
A lot. I can't. The suit is amazing. It's perhaps the finest suit he's ever worn.
Creamsicle.
Yeah, Tennessee Volunteer colors, kind of. He has all the leverage in the world, Dan, because he's. I don't understand what the Ravens are doing. Do the Ravens know what I would do to have Lamar Jackson as the quarterback of the New York Jets? Do the Ravens know what Dolphin fans would give to have Lamar Jackson be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins?
Nothing.
You'd give a lot. You would. Mike, there was a time as a Browns fan, when you were a Browns fan, that you would have given anything to have a guy like Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. No off-the-field issues, works very hard, has won an MVP. Like, what are the Ravens doing? And Lamar Jackson should not play a down of football until he has signed that contract. And if that bleeds into the regular season, so be it. But Lamar Jackson deserves to be, I don't know what order we're in right now. I don't know who was the last highest paid quarterback in the NFL, but whoever that is, Lamar Jackson should be making more money than that person. He is a quarterback that teams would literally kill to have.
That's not literal.
Well, I think some would. I know as a Jet fan, Dan, I would love to have him as my quarterback. We've never had a quarterback that good. And I know the Jets, if they thought they had a quarterback that good, they would sign him immediately. I don't understand what the Ravens are doing. It's confusing. It really is. What does Lamar have to do?
Would you kill for him, Stugotz, to be a Jet?
I would.
He probably could run the ball less and be a more accurate thrower, and that would probably get
He's
him.
doing just fine.
No,
Again,
I know. I'm not arguing that he's obviously great, but you don't think that a quarterback that runs a lot, there should be some debate of like, oh, do we pay him?
I would.
He's missed 2 games.
No, he didn't miss 2 games. He missed like the final stretch of last season. They went winless. It actually helped the argument to pay Lamar Jackson because once he went out in that Browns game, they didn't win another game.
I would assume that whatever the hang-up is with Lamar Jackson is years more than money. Because if Mahomes is your standard setter with 15, it becomes the comparisons on, do I want to pay 15 years worth of my quarterback needs to be more athletic than everybody for my game plan to work?
Also, part of the negotiation is that Lamar's representing himself.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that introduces complexities to the situation that were unaccounted for, if Baltimore feels like they can finesse a situation to their advantage a little bit, but it's an added layer to these mega quarterback deals that we've never really had. No one's ever represented themselves in these.
He missed the final 4 games last year, and you're right, they lost those games. He has 84 touchdowns, 31 interceptions. You throw in the 21 rushing.
That's a lot of interceptions, especially last season. His interception total ballooned. He's finally showing that maybe some of the running is catching up with him. If they gave him this deal like 2 years ago, that they would be well positioned.
Where
coming off 36 and 6.
Where are you coming up with the sentence that he's in decline, or like what are you?
The turnover numbers last year, I would say, are a bit of a concern. Not just the interceptions, but the fumbles too.
I mean, he's out there by himself. He's never had good wide receivers. They have a decent running game. Again, I understand what you're saying. Like 31 interceptions, 13 of them were last year, but 84 and 31 over 4 years, plus 21 rushing touchdowns. I mean, the guy is an incredible quarterback.
Make no mistake, they have a good running game because he is a part of that running game.
I know.
They had a mash unit at running back last year.
He's your entire team. He's been your entire team
He's
for
his own
4
play
years.
action. He
Yes.
should.
He's exceeded all expectations.
Coming out, I would pay Lamar Jackson. He's been spectacular and proven everybody wrong at every turn. He's certainly worth it. He's won an MVP. He's done a lot for that franchise. He should get paid. I'm just trying to push some of the opposition.
Chris, what are you guys
I'm
talking
getting
about?
seasick watching Stephen A. right now. They're bouncing up and down. It's getting a little choppy.
It's a big boat too. It has at least 4 engines that we can see. I'd say like a mini yacht, and then logistically, Witty and I are talking about like, is there a backup team in place? Who is that backup team? What do they do if they lose connection while on the water?
Is it because Stephen A. is returning from vacation and they are celebrating it by just randomly and gratuitously, superficially, and wonderfully putting it on a boat?
You got to come back with a splash.
Yeah.
Sweep, Dano.
It looked like they were about to head back to Pier 17, but then they turned around and now they're going
Jess is doing
past
this thing. She's
downtown
flexing
Brooklyn.
her New York muscle.
Yeah, all
she
of a
keeps pointing
sudden
out
she's like
things.
a
She's
New
like,
York
that's where I
river
used to
expert.
live. That's where this person lives. She's
I was
flexing
like,
her New York
there's
muscles
Citibank
right now.
headquarters.
I
Let me text
wanted
my friend that works there. Stephen A. is outside your window. Look out the window.
Charlotte Wilder?
If
No,
they don't
my
end up
friend
at the
Jay.
Statue of Liberty, this is a big miss.
They actually
right?
are really close to it, though.
Really?
They're in like New York Harbor. They already kind of went by where it is, though.
Are you producing the segment, Billy? Is that how you? That's the big punctuation. 2 hours from now, they argue whether it's too early to panic on the Cowboys by the Statue of Liberty because it replaces the Statue of Liberty as our greatest feeling of freedom.
Is the
ability
crown
to
still
argue
open?
this?
The Statue of Liberty crown? Because
No,
if
I
they did
think
it up
it's-
there, that would be great.
I think it's been closed for a while. Maybe they're going to Staten Island.
It's weird to do the Deshaun topic on a boat. He's like giving a real serious thought and he's bouncing up and down.
I love what just happened to Whittingham, where he legitimately laughed, and then somewhere within the laughter, echoing as he heard it go out over the air, it was,
Uh-oh.
"Should I be laughing at that?"
Yeah. 100%. Oh no, the connection's going foggy.
Oh no!
But also,
This is
but like,
what
so
happens.
whatever remorse I feel laughing, Molly is wearing a captain's hat while Stephen A. is doing this.
We can confirm through an aerial shot of a drone that is indeed a yacht.
Yes.
How it's branded, too,
Well-
on the top of it.
Well, they went to the drone shot because I think they lost picture from the boat, so they had to go to their backup
Is
drone
Molly
shot.
seasick? She looks like she's a little bit seasick. She looks like she's.
So does Michael. I
Also,
gotta be honest.
observation here: Stephen A. seems to be playing hurt because his hand is either wrapped or he's wearing brass knucks.
He
And I'm not ruling out the brass
shoulder
knucks.
surgery, so I don't know. Do you think they had like a safety drill for like
Ooh, like the mustard drill
yeah, like,
beforehand?
check out where all the life jackets are.
Like when we had CPR training and no one went.
3 people showed up.
We had CPR training.
Hey, I said I wasn't going.
Can you guys explain to me, because I evidently have aged out of being able to understand how it is that Kevin Durant and James Harden are palling around again. If someone came into my work environment, I found it so curious to see them training in Barcelona and everything's fine. For 6 minutes, these guys wanted to be together. And then James Harden didn't want to be there anymore. And they're still friends as Kevin Durant. I don't know who Kevin Durant gets along with, but I'm surprised to see him getting along with James Harden, as now Philadelphia becomes one of the teams that Kevin Durant reportedly would be interested in going to. And it made me wonder, did James Harden come in and see the Nets organization and the same way that Kevin Durant does? Where Kevin Durant's not blaming James Harden for anything? That didn't work there.
Kevin Durant and James Harden are still friendly. I wonder who maybe James Harden might have had a problem with in his time in Brooklyn. If only there was someone in the organization that like didn't play for 3/4 of the season and is famously difficult. I wonder who James Harden had a problem with.
And there were reports of what James Harden, his face looked like while that person was saging the locker room. If only these details were out there. I would, let me tell you something. I would Venmo at least $500 to whomever you tell me has footage of what James Harden's face looked like as Kyrie Irving was saging the locker room.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at
Give me
LeBatard Show.
via NFT. I would, whatever you want. I want to see his face.
Would you pay $500 at LeBatard Show? Would you pay $500 to see James Harden's face as Kyrie Irving saged the locker room?
I have an unpatriotic take that I feel like now is appropriate for.
Oh, boy.
They're passing by Lady Liberty off in the distance.
The mother of freedom.
First time I saw Lady Liberty, I wasn't super impressed. A lot smaller in person than I was expecting.
Really small.
I thought that
boy.
this would be like a giant monument, and I was like, that's it? Like, I need binoculars.
It was when it was first erected, but now there's skyscrapers that are 5 times its height, like less than 10 miles away.
Exactly. Get with the times is exactly right, Witty. Maybe we update the wardrobe a little bit. I feel like there should be
She's in a crop top and high-waisted shorts.
Yeah. We make like a national law that the Statue of Liberty has to be the tallest thing in America.
Ooh, I love that.
You were unimpressed. You were expecting something much
taller,
larger.
bigger. Yeah, like off in the distance, I was taller.
Do you think the person who's driving this first take boat is listening to the show and they're like, oh, they're still in the C block. We got to do another loop around Manhattan, guys. We're
It's
still on
frozen now.
Watson."
It's frozen now. This is
It's
a
a bad
This is
idea.
a dangerous game. It's not a bad idea in theory, but they're having a lot of connection problems.
Seems to be going well.
This is probably why it is that you don't do this very often. You don't see this done all that often on boats.
Correction. The problem with that TV is our connection. They're fine on the other one. Yeah.
They're still moving.
Yeah,
they're-
they at least have an excuse for it.
So they are able. It's not a problem with anything that they're doing. The degree of difficulty much more difficult than what we're doing, which is just trying to get a television to work.
They are having far more success actually producing this activation than we are just simply watching it on this TV.
As football Stugotz, as the uniforms returned this weekend, and this wasn't for me this weekend, okay? Because I am happy that football is back, but I'm not particularly interested in watching what was offered this weekend. But Chris Cody is so starved for his Dolphins mattering in any way that he has already talked himself into loving not just Mike McDaniel's sideline demeanor, but everything about him as a coach, including that he has decided to go the route all in on, I'm going to be a quirky coach. I'm going to be somebody who's unusual. I'm not going to go the copycat way of being Mike Zimmer because everybody in this sport is Mike Zimmer. I'm going to be different about it.
Well, I was watching the game on Saturday and I was just like I was telling my friends, I'm like, this guy, he just looks the part. And then someone was trying to point out but when do you see the successful, quirky, friendly coach? And I was like, that's actually a good point. I mean, is Steve Kerr a little quirky and friendly? I'm trying to think of the successful coaches in all these sports that are affable. Right? They're all the Belichicks of the world and the Popoviches.
Right.
Even Spo. Is Spo friendly? No. Who are the success? I want to find another example of a quirky, fun with the media coach. So is McVay?
They end up growing. McVay gets along well with the media, but they end up growing to hate all of us because we're an impediment that don't know as much as they do about the stuff that we're watching and ask questions that they have to answer, but just to avoid headlines.
Joe Madden? Just throwing out a name.
No, he's a terrible manager.
He was very quirky.
He's awful. I am with Chris Cody on this, where he appears to be very confident. He's also, my wife does this once in a while. She'll see someone on TV, and so she said to me, "Who is that?" I said, "It's the new Dolphin head coach. Why are you asking? You never ask." She said, "Sneaky good looking." He's got this thing about him. I mean, it's like a nerd quality, yet he seems to be cool, and he's pretty good looking, according to my wife.
At LeBatard Show, when your spouse asks, who is that, about somebody on the screen, are they asking because they find them attractive?
But that buys you 2 years, right? You could be quirky and good looking for 2. No, because this
when
year
you're
you
1 and
blame
3,
Tua.
when you're 1 and 3, it's not as cute.
But Tua's the fall guy this year, right?
Yeah.
And then McDaniel has next year, and then if things don't work out,
I think quirky is only fun when you haven't played a game or you're winning. Not losing and quirky is going to get you buried faster.
What buys you more time, being quirky or having pretty privilege?
Does he have it though?
I don't know. I mean, ask Stugotz's wife. I guess she's like the arbiter of deciding for the show. But maybe.
Sneaky good looking. I have not thought of him. I don't think of him as bad looking. I don't think of him, though, as who is that when someone is walking past the television screen. That's Kingsbury.
Great wardrobe choice with the gray sweatshirt. Great hair. The hair looked fantastic. Glasses choices, the sneaker choice. He did everything possible to put himself in the who is that conversation. Don't know if he's there. Might be outside of my top 5 personally, but he did a great job.
I could do without the inactive list before preseason games because when it came out, it basically said don't watch this game because there was like 50 guys out for both teams combined.
That's why you're just watching for him on the sideline. I was literally just watching. I was like, let me see what he looks like. Let me see what he looks like touching his headsets, looking at his sheet. I'm telling you, it's just the little thing. And he passed all the tests.
Really?
All of it.
The sniff test.
That's the thing. And the stuff with sneaky good looking, you don't really notice a coach until you see him on the sideline, prowling the sideline. And he had a prowl. Like, you wouldn't think hearing him talk, you wouldn't think he would have a prowl.
He was going after it.
He's got a prowl.
How's his hand on the knees concerned bent?
Oh
wow!
How was that? That's a big one because I knew Kingsbury was handsome, and then he did that. I was like, okay.
Also, what's your demeanor when you have an injured player and you go out to him? Because you don't want to be too panicked. You want to be confident, but you want to let him know that you care about it. It was perfect. Really?
I think the move you're talking about, leaning on your knees, because I don't know if you guys saw Pete Carroll sprint down a sideline the other day, moving pretty good for a 70-year-old. I think that move you're talking about, hands on the knees, that's a young man's game. I don't believe that's an old man's game.
I don't think any coach should have their hands on their knees ever. It just shows a weakness that I don't want to see in my head coach. That's a coordinator move, not a head coach move. Once you graduate, no more hands on the knees.
Stugotz, the end of that game, the Bucs did not come back because Tom Brady was not participating in the festivities. And he is away for personal problems. I got to salute, not personal problems, personal matters, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I've got to salute Tom Brady for his ability at that kind of fame to keep things private when he wants to keep them private, because usually we don't allow too much of that. We don't respect too much of that. But the thing I wanted to ask you about Tom Brady missing time is put this on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Does Tom Brady need to practice ever? Does he need to practice ever? And if Tom Brady comes in and says to you, hey, I'm going away for 3 weeks. You're the coach. You're the new coach.
Mm-hmm.
What?
You let him, Steve Trask. I mean, Kyle Trask, whatever his name is, or Blaine Gabbert. Yeah. I mean, you let Brady do whatever Brady wants to do at this point in his career. Who cares? He wants to come back week 3. Let him come back week 3.
And it should be noted, Tom Brady's never really done anything like this, so I imagine he's dealing with something
saying he can do
quite
whatever.
serious.
I'm saying he can do whatever he likes. I just don't think there are a whole lot of people that the audience would give that kind of carte blanche to. And
there's not a whole lot of people playing quarterback at the age of 40. I mean,
45.
A big difference. Do not short him those 5. Because I had seen the other thing done before with mixed results.
He wants a family vacation. I mean, before the kids go back to school. I don't know.
We shouldn't be hypothesizing. Shouldn't be hypothesizing right now.
No, I don't know whether it's something bad or not, but I am more interested in who gets to do that. In that particular,
not me. I get yelled at every time I go anywhere.
In that particular world.
I'm also very young. And I have pretty privilege.
And you got away with it.
Yeah. There weren't any consequences, were there?
You did go.
You're still here.
Not for long.
Tom can do whatever he wants, right?
Yes.
I wonder if he takes advantage of that in any way.
Life jackets are out. Uh-oh. I think it's time for sink or swim on First Take today.
Oh, wow.
They did tease it was coming up.
That's why they're on the boats.
To answer your question, Dan, I don't think Tom Brady wants to miss practice time. Like everything that we've heard about Giselle's dislike for his relationship with football and the hard work is that he's got to get up at 6 a.m. and on vacation in March to throw footballs around. Like, I don't think he wants to be missing the time as much as the team probably doesn't need it. They'll be fine. If they enter week 1 with him practicing little, they'll probably be fine. But I don't think he wants to be missing that time.
I have said a couple of different times, and I know we've run out of ways to talk about Tom Brady. But I don't know that in my lifetime, Stugotz, I have ever seen anyone at any position in sports break through so clearly to the other side of whatever the norm is supposed to be that you go into a season that represents him at 45 years old and give me all the other quarterbacks in the sport who have a touchdown over-under of 35 for the season. And it's just... it's like a computer simulation of I've never seen anything that's this much different than everything that came before it, where excellence is hard and, Peyton Manning gets to win 2 and Aaron Rodgers gets to win 1 and Peyton Manning is done and he's done and Hall of Fame eligible and the Tom Brady's still at 35. What the what is that?
45.
45.
Don't short
I was
those
doing
10
35
years.
touchdowns. I wasn't doing 45 years old. I'm doing. How are you 10 years older than your touchdown count? And both numbers are absurd. Like that a guy goes into the season. You could give me 5 quarterbacks who this season are going to be the over under on them would be over 35.
Well, I believe the answer is only one. It's Josh Allen. He's the only one who's over that. Patrick Mahomes is 34 and a half.
Rodgers is not 35?
No, he's 31 and a half.
Wow.
Courtesy of our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's wild.
Can you imagine what we're talking about though? Like how is it that we can cover this sport as much as we do and devote as much time to it as we do and have somebody who's such an outlier that Mike Schur is telling us last week, the stat that he has won more playoff games than any quarterback in the sport, just if you start counting after the age of 37, which is the age that Roethlisberger, like you saw, he's been done. You saw Roethlisberger's been done for every other quarterback before this one, Stugotz. It's why Max Kellerman was so comfortable being on First Take all the time, shouting, this is where the precipitous drop is. This is why I was comfortable shouting. There is no way to see physical decline in a quarterback who's wearing the same uniform if the arm strength is gone, but maybe accuracy on deep passes is where you notice it. And Tom Brady couldn't throw the deep ball 7 years ago anymore. And now
he was saving them for now.
At 45 years old, the over-under is where you put Josh Allen, who's a stallion by any physical measure.
There were 7 quarterbacks who threw more than 35 touchdowns a year ago. There were 2 who threw north of 40. Stafford and Brady. I mean.
And my guess is, if I ask you right now, they are going to turn Julio Jones into just do button hooks out there and no one can guard you, right? Just do tight end stuff. Just run these routes. Julio Jones is trying to reinvent himself. Julio Jones's look spent for a couple of years. Julio Jones's body doesn't look like he can run past many people anymore, but it's still a giant body, and it's exactly what plays tight end for them.
That's what I thought they were going to do, and then video came out from training camp where he was running a 9 route, and he got separation, and Brady hit him in stride. So yeah, he's one of the greatest deep threats ever. Why not see if he still has that in his locker?
Is that what's going to happen? That it's not just going to be a fountain of youth for Brady, but it's a fountain of youth for spent receivers too?
I think when you're Julio Jones, Dan, you don't go there with the idea of being a tight end. You go there with the idea of reinventing your career. Like, hey, I could still do all of it. Not just the button hooks. Don't just throw it up to me. I can do all of it because I'm playing with Tom.
Do you remember at the end how many teams Randy Moss played for? Do you remember at the end how he bounced around because everyone thought, oh, I can get one more season out of him? Julio Jones has been, Stugotz, like busted up physically since the foot, the pounding that he took as the only guy that Matt Ryan would throw it to, playing for those teams. His body. It's rare, Stugotz, where you see
he hasn't been good in 3 years. Julio Jones
broken down, and so he's a name. And I know you fall in love anytime with a guy who has a name. But I do believe that Tom Brady took. Remember what it is we thought the Patriots had? Oh, they can take all your guys and win with them. He took that with him. He took. No, I'll just come over here and meet me in Tampa. And again, he's a few years younger than Stugotz.
He did it with Gronk and Antonio Brown. Like, what makes you think he can't do it with Julio Jones? Julio Jones is going to have a tremendous season. He really is. I mean,
but Gronk and Antonio Brown, we had a feeling that would work. we didn't see them be bad, and another team just say, no, we can't do that because this player is just simply not good anymore. We saw teams do that with Antonio Brown, knowing that he was good because he was just too much of a problem. Julio Jones didn't get booted from the Titans because he was a problem, because he wasn't worth what they were paying him, wasn't worth the capital that they spent in acquiring him, and just flatly wasn't good for them.
But you expect him to be good for the Bucs, right?
In however many snaps that they're going to use him in whatever situational football. I don't think he's going to pass Russell Gage on the depth chart or Godwin or Mike Evans. They have so many weapons over there.
It is a bit nuts. Since you mentioned Antonio Brown, I wanted to get to this because I didn't believe it was real. Now, I still don't believe the quote is real. Him retweeting it doesn't mean that he would ever say anything like this, but he did endorse it. And the quote is, "My biggest regret in my career doesn't involve calling my GM a cracker, showing up to Raiders camp late in a hot air balloon with frozen feet, or throwing rocks at the UPS driver. And it definitely doesn't involve taking my shirt off and doing a victory lap around the Jet Stadium mid-game while throwing up deuces. My biggest regret is that I'll never get to see me, Antonio Brown, play a game live. Sure, I can watch the game afterwards, but I can't imagine what that was like for you all to see something like that, like watching the Beatles or Jesus perform at Red Rocks."
So he has like a ghostwriter? So he's okay with the quote, but he didn't actually come up with it.
I thought I had to look 2 or 3
like
different
Drake.
times. I thought it was butt crack sports. I thought it was ball sack sports. I'm like, okay, this is another one of those things that is fake. This cannot be real.
Well, it was concocted. It was in the lab by the sports memery, and it made its way virally. And then Antonio Brown saw it, got a chuckle, and decided to endorse that sentiment by putting it on his own personal social media handle.
I just can't imagine what it is to read that about yourself and say, I'd like to share this with others. Like to look at what I have done to my career. You guys have been blasting Kevin Durant's decisions here for a long time. Whittingham said Whittingham was worried that Kevin Durant might come after him because Whittingham said publicly that in this incarnation, if you played out Kevin Durant's career 100 times, this might be the worst version of it. Antonio Brown's career, Stugotz, what has happened over the last 4 years, one of the great stories in the history of the league, a 6th-round pick being that good at running routes. That was an amazing resume that he just endorsed. That list of things that have happened to Antonio Brown.
What's wild is the rap thing is actually working out for Antonio Brown.
No.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like he's not a bad rapper. And now he has a song that is kind of gaining traction that everybody wanted to laugh at. And it came with a funny dance. And now everyone in the NFL is doing the put that shit on dance. And it's just like with the fingers. And he doesn't sound bad. Yeah, everybody's been doing that dance
That
lately.
would be great if Antonio Brown could make it
Rap
as
star.
a career reinvention. He's not going to play again, right?
I think we lost signal and we've gone to the studio
Oh,
now.
no.
There's
Yeah,
Keyshawn.
Keyshawn's in there doing
Oh,
what
there it
Dolphins
is.
do.
They're like, do Dolphins now, do Dolphins now.
What just happened
I don't
here?
think Dolphins can actually sink, can they?
Put it on the
the
poll,
question is, will
Billy.
I think they float if things go awry for a
No,
Dolphin.
No, but the
No,
question is,
they
will
die.
Tua, if the Dolphins were to sink or swim, but the question is, will Tua Tagovailoa sink or swim? Which I think I've seen that question asked on debate television about 100 times since January.
It's a common misnomer that immediately after you die, you'll bob to the surface. Your lungs fill with air, and then all the gases in your stomach have you buoy up to the surface, depending on a couple factors, weather being one of them.
Put it on the poll, please, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. When a dolphin dies, does
We're
it...
learning a lot of weird things today. Jessica's a river expert.
How do
Mike's
you,
a dead
well,
fish
Mike,
expert.
how do you know so much about this?
About
I mean,
dead bodies and how
yeah.
they bob to the surface?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because at that Seaport studio where this show is emanating from right now, is they had very smart to have backups in place in the event that the shot from
I love the library idea of if it goes down, just go straight to Tua.
yeah.
Like just like we got this in the bank. Just Keyshawn, get out there and just go. We got just talk about Tua. Whatever. He didn't play, doesn't matter. Just Tua.
Well, they have a new host. I'd be They probably banked this over the week, knowing that there might be problems.
Or they brought them in. Hey, we need one segment filled while they walk from the boat into the studio.
Perhaps.
You guys handle Tua
Right.
for 15 minutes. Have a good day. Thank you.
What kind of set is Jesus playing at Red Rocks? Like what's his opener?
He's not
The
reading.
hits you would think, right? Water to wine.
I thought it would be a sermon. I thought he was speaking, not really performing. I don't have him doing a concert.
I don't know. It's an amphitheater known for his concerts. I feel like he's got to play like
You've got him on a little guitar, a
some
ukulele.
Godspell, Jesus Christ Superstar,
You've got him doing music.
Christ Be
I've
Our
got
Light,
by Crash Test Dummies.
Be Not Afraid.
At the seaport, seasonally, you can tell that it's spring when the bodies start bobbing
That's
up to
not
the
true.
surface.
That's not true anymore.
Anymore.
They've cleaned up the rivers.
Well, they cleaned up the rivers because
there's-
every day there's one day a year where all the
No,
bodies bob
there's-
to the surface by the seaport and
That's
they all
not true.
collect them.
I
People at
lived
the
there-
seaport
I
they're
lived
like,
there for
oh,
years.
today's the day.
No. The East River and the Hudson River went through rigorous cleanup efforts over the last decade, and now there's wildlife returning to the rivers. There's whales, there's dolphins, there's oysters coming back. Different bivalves are in the river, Dan. It's very
I feel like
clean
I'm
now,
watching an
Mike.
infomercial for the New York.
That was actually when there was the lockdown that whales were back in the bay. But no, there's now dead bodies again bobbing up to the surface. It happened a couple months
Guillermo,
ago.
put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. When dolphins die, do they sink to the bottom or do they float? And let's again examine what just happened here. First take went down because in an orange jacket, Stephen A. Smith, back from vacation, is on a yacht from some sort.
They sank.
They have not sunk. I don't believe you should report that.
You got to go to that if they are sinking. That's good ratings.
They
It
did.
right
was
there.
sink or swim, and
Exactly.
they lost. Yeah, so
we
they
had
sank,
it.
yeah.
We have it
Tell 'em,
on
Bill.
mute, but they did all put on life vests before.
Well, not Stephen A. for some
No,
reason.
but because they were, I think they were laughing at the color of his suit by not.
The life vests were the same color as his suit. Yes.
Yeah. You never do that watching a movie where there's a dead body bobbing around in the pool and they just died, and you're like, that's not how that works. It's me all the time.
I just don't know how it works.
But Mike does.
You've got a lot of conviction that you know how all of this stuff works. I thought we were going to leave it all unstated so it would just hang in the air. Wow, Mike's thrown a lot of bodies. He knows how it is to weigh down a body in a river if it needs to.
Is the poop thing real when a body dies?
I mean, you do pass gas after you die for a little bit, and there's a chance that a little something squirts out.
I saw a thing on the internet that whales explode after a certain point because like all of the gas or whatever builds up inside them, and they'll just be there and they'll just blow up.
Yep, very true.
Huh.
Can happen with the human body, too.
No, it can't.
No.
Bodies are not blowing up.
Getting
after
carried
death.
away.
Come on,
Seen it.
yeah. You have not seen it.
Expected it from Whittingham, not you.
You've seen it? This is your version of look it up. I've seen it, and no one can prove anything
It's
that you're
better
saying.
than look it up. I
You're-
mean,
you're-
he's seen it. No one
There's
else
all
has.
there's all sorts of nightmare stories when people are experimenting on cadavers.
What do you mean you've seen it?
There's bodies that move like post-mortem.
That's not the same as body just blowing up.
Well, there's just all the gases. The gases do funny things. I bet you Elvis exploded after his death sometime thereafter.
Ron McGill did tell us the story of digging up an orangutan or a chimpanzee and trying to take its skull off because he collects the skulls. And
That's weird.
When he did that, yes, that is weird. Thank you,
So
Bill.
does a predator.
And as he twisted it, its eyes opened and the mouth made a hideous sound. And I think he said he pooped himself.
You know what's wild? Spontaneous combustion. We have this thing in our lives. It can happen. The chances are very slim.
You've seen it.
But people just explode.
Hmm.
They just explode. They just burst into flames spontaneously.
That's
Into
not.
flames?
I don't think they burst into
that's true.
flames.
Yeah,
I don't think people
spontaneously
just burst
combust.
Like
into
it's a
flames.
Ford Pinto. I don't think that people just explode.
I've seen
I've
it.
never seen it on Only in Dade.
I don't think.
And you would have if it were possible.
Why are you laughing, Jessica? What are you laughing about? I saw right before you started laughing that you were very eager and enthusiastic and trying to get going a pickleball game. And as you tried to get it going, you were
Yes!
very excited. Chris Whittingham just hit you over the shoulder walking out of the room with, "I'm not here this weekend."
Well, he's not invited then. He's not allowed to play with us. Only serious pickleballers. We were about to go live though, and Chris Cody said under his breath to the room, "You guys got to see this video of these hippos going after it."
Getting after it. They were fighting though. I think they thought I was meant like sexually, which would also maybe be interesting. But I'm not talking about that. I saw this video. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know if it's like people being around hippos because like there doesn't seem to be a wall.
Like in a tiki hut.
It's like a tiki hut. So these hippos could just turn and start eating all these people, but instead they're fighting, and it is just.
They won't eat you, but they will kill you. Like
It's
they're
just these
hugely
two-
dangerous animals.
They have these two giant like their mouths are wide open and they're just running at each other with their mouths open, and it's just. I usually love watching animal fights, and this is like really uncomfortable.
Could they be playing?
This
Like
is not-
dogs play like that sometimes, trying to bite each other, and it's just a game, you know?
Billy, do you want to play pickleball?
One of them just
How much
shit
does it
himself in the
cost?
middle of the fight too.
It's free.
No, but like the equipment. How much am I investing to get
I'll
in
pay
on
for
this?
the equipment.
Oh wow!
You were very excited to hear that Stugotz had just played pickleball recently.
I tried it once. I played singles. I think it's more of a doubles game. I was exhausted afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like real life ping pong. It's a smaller version of tennis, you know?
Yeah, it's like tennis and badminton combined. So I
Yeah.
played this weekend with my friend Jenny. She lives down here. We went and found these pickleball courts. I hunted all over the interwebs to find pickleball courts in Miami. Then I found this very helpful Miami Herald article that had a list of all the pickleball courts. So we found one that we liked that was free, very important. And then we went, and it was like, at this point, it was 10 a.m., 10:30 by the time we got there. So we played for like an hour and a half, and it was like 120 degrees out.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
We were
hot.
like, you know what? We're going to come back tomorrow now that we're getting a lay of the land. So we went back on Sunday. We played for like 4 hours. We got there early. We outlasted like several groups of pickleballers who came through and played probably like three matches, her and me. Like I won the first one, she won the second one. Then we played like a rubber match.
We're getting a very
I
detailed
won.
tour
Wait, so
of
you're
your
playing
pickleball.
you're playing singles here.
We were playing singles,
because
but then
singles is difficult.
it is very difficult because you're
Yes.
running all over the place.
Right.
And we were still kind of getting our footing because we didn't really know the rules that well. There's this thing called the kitchen. You can't overhand hit in the kitchen. You can't step in the kitchen. It's like the crease in hockey. You got to stay out of the kitchen, I guess, which is what people usually tweet
Well,
at me.
the
Ironically
ball has
enough.
to bounce in the kitchen first, right?
I don't think I don't think it has to bounce.
I think
in
if
the
it
kitchen.
bounces in the kitchen, then you can play.
No, I think it. I don't think.
You know who
that's-
the pickleball expert is? Remember Bruce?
Oh
Used to
yeah.
work here. Bruce used
Big
to
hands?
do pickleball once a week. Yeah, when his
does
community, it was
Ham
a
hands.
55 plus community. Yeah, Bruce was a big pickleballer.
I mean-
He would tell us about it all the time. And Dan, you'll find this interesting. K-Funk approached me and Stugotz not too long ago and said that we should have a pickleball podcast because it's catching on.
Yeah.
Bruce had a
We laughed at
mean
him.
backhand with those hands.
I think Dan is wondering to himself who is K-Funk.
Also, who's Bruce?
I think the audience is wondering who's Bruce.
They remember Bruce.
Bruce
He
is
was on a mystery
someone
crate.
who I would say, while working here for ESPN, was asleep 70% of the time.
I imagine when he plays pickleball, he just plays with his hands.
Yep.
No paddle.
Jess mentioned getting the lay of the land. Where's the best lay of the land to get? It's a vacation
Ooh.
lay of the land, right? When you're on vacation, you finally got.
Go on a little walk.
You got to see
Yeah.
where everything is, how to get to everything, where you get some privacy,
Mhm.
little dog walker. Yeah.
Cruise lay of the land, also a good one.
I'm still getting my lay of the land in Miami.
Really?
This Miami Springs DMV really.
So
threw
you
me
got it
for
on
a
the
loop on
pickleball
that.
court before Miami.
It's a smaller
Well,
court.
so yesterday we went back to the pickleball court and we played for like 4 hours. And after our third match, we were like, all right, we're done. It's so hot out, and the court makes everything hotter because the heat's just coming straight up at your face. And then this guy kind of came out of nowhere and he was like, do you guys want to play with us? We'll play me versus you two. And we hadn't played doubles together yet. And Jenny's a former soccer player, so like, you know, we're both like pretty athletic, but pickleball's not our thing, Dan. So he played against us, and he actually knew the rules and had been playing for a while. So he was putting spin on his ball, like he was playing real low, like barely getting it over the net. So then you're like hustling up to the front, hit it back. It was really hard. So he dusted our asses, Dan. We lost 2 games to him, 11-0. Jenny and I are no longer speaking. We're not friends anymore. I'm never going to talk to her again. And so now I need a new pickleball partner. So I'm asking all of you.
When you guys get a lay of the land, I like to do that solo. I feel like when I have a lay of
You
the
have
land
to do it
situation,
solo,
I
yeah,
can't do it with
yeah,
others.
right.
Just kind of get in the way. I need to kind of go out and traverse the land on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you do lays of the land? What are the various places that Billy will arrive someplace and he's got to take some inventory? Honey, I got to go alone. I can't have anyone. No family time here. I need to go lay the land.
Well, it depends, right? So like if it's somewhere you have to be there at least a couple of days, or if it's like an event, something that's going to take 10 plus hours where you go and you have to take a lay of the land, know everything you want to do, know all the exits, know kind of everything. And you can't insultingly say, hey,
I'm going to take a lay of the land. Sometimes it's, hey, I'm going to go get some ice, or hey, I'm going to go do this errand. And then you do a quick scouting out of the situation.
But Bill, you don't do it once you get there. Like the Atlantis is a good place to get a lay of the land. You just got to, hey, the first time I was there, I was like, hey, I got to see where everything is, go check it out. And I did it under the umbrella of, hey, because I don't want you guys looking around for everything.
Yeah, but you can set out to get a lay of the land, but you usually don't get it until like your 4th day there. And then you're like, now I know. There's usually a point on a vacation where you're like, now I know where I am. Now I know the hotel's that way. I know we got to go this way for that. And then you can say to yourself, I now have a lay of the land.
No.
Whereas you go out that first day, you want it. You're real eager. You want to get it. But you're like, damn, where do I go again? You don't have the lay of the land yet.
Well, that's because you're doing it wrong. You need to get the lay of the land so that you have it. Boom. Day one, you go out there, you say, listen, enjoy a drink, do whatever. I'm going to go scout this out. And then
everyone else is having fun. Billy's just, I'm going to walk around.
Exactly right. Yeah. You need to go so that you know where, because that's how you guys, that's how you maximize the fun. The way you're describing it, it takes you 4 days to figure out where everything is. And by then, vacation's already over. You've spent 4 days getting a lay of the land naturally.
Maps, so I'm able to find my way around.
Billy gets right to the fun. I mean,
maps.
that's it. He gets right to the fun.
You do the hard work on the front end, so then you have maximum fun on the back end.
Baby, can you explain to me why it is that you're lying to your wife about
not lying? It's a
going
fib
to
at best.
get a lay of the land. No, I'm saying if you're going to get a lay of the land, it's like I'm going to get ice when you don't need ice. That's a lie.
I always need ice. Come on, you always need ice when you go to the room.
You come back with ice, of course, after you get the lay of the land.
Well, and sometimes when you go to get ice, I don't know if you ever get a lay of the ice layout on hotels or whatever, but you want to make sure.
I need to know where the ice machine is.
Not just that, I need to make sure that the floor I'm on has the best ice machine. You know what I mean? So maybe you go up a floor, you go down a floor, and you want to see.
How many buckets of ice are you getting?
Well, it's not that. It's just like for convenience also, because sometimes it'll say that where the ice is where the vending machines are. And then if there's no vending machine, it's like, well, wait a minute. Did I get on a floor with no vending machines? Let me go up a floor. Let me go up 2 floors. And then you check 4 or 5 floors to see if there's vending machines. And if there are, then you check to see which are the good vending machines that has what it is that I like. So then when I need something, I'm not scrambling. I know, hey, boom, just go into the elevator, hit number 7. That's where I get the Snickers bar that I want. Boom, then go back down, and I could get some ice at the same time, back to the room.
So you're the one person using these vending machines.
Yeah,
you guys are using a hotel. Who uses a hotel vending machine?
If you stay
if anything, you go down to the lobby and go to the little gift shop in the lobby and get the overpriced.
No, but those close at like 7 o'clock. Exactly right. And if you're staying at a hotel where they don't have 24/7 room service, you need to know where the snacks are.
I mean,
you do.
You guys need to go to like a late night pizza place. Like, who's going to a vending machine on vacation?
Well, me. I mean,
obviously, I'll hit up the CVS on the way there and I'll pack my snacks because it's going to be cheaper than if I were to go to the vending machine.
Munchies or munchies.
I love getting snacks on vacation. I feel like I always eat the best snacks on vacation.
Do you guys ever get the lay of the land before you actually get to the place where you can get the lay of the land?
I
use the Google Maps, the little orange person thing where you drag and drop them and you start looking through the cities and you start double clicking streets. Like, oh yeah, when I make the right turn here, then you make the left. And I look for landmarks on Google Maps. Before I went to London, I basically knew all of London.
Lay of the landmarks with you. You just you do a lot of research. You are meticulous about it.
He's trying to get escape routes for something. I just haven't gotten down to it.
I miss when AAA used to like have. I mean, I guess they probably still do. But you don't have it anymore. When AAA used to send you the guidebook, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to South Carolina. AAA, can you send me the South Carolina guidebook? And it tells you everything that you need to see in South Carolina. You get a nice big South Carolina map if you're going to drive there from Florida. Oh, it was great. But now Waze is existing, and all you have to do is put in the address. And like, oh, you're going to be there.
It must stink to be Triple H when people are talking about AAA, because it's just like you always think they're about to say your name. AAA. Not finishing. Nope. AAA. He's like, huh? Oh, not me. Okay.
Is the therapy couch working? Is the therapy couch something that we can go to?
Because, who are you sending there?
Well, Billy's back, and he's clearly got a lot on his mind, and he's got a lot of thoughts. He hasn't been talking very much into a microphone.
Lay in the land.
And so I want to give him another microphone
back to Triple H,
so that he can go and lay on
that was pretty good. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was.
Okay, let's let him have it.
What's that? Oh,
let's let him have it. Let's let him have it.
No, I'm Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's my mistake.
Hey, AAA. What? Oh, damn it. You were saying AAA again.
Your car looks fine.
Dan, do you get it? It's because it's triple. If you keep going with AAA.
Yeah, no, explain to me the nuances and layers
Do
to your.
Do the English call him Triple H?
Wow, that's a good question.
Right before we started, right before we went on, I don't know how this ended up in Stugotz's lap, but he was giggling to himself. And all I heard him say was the actor who played Shooter McGavin.
Christopher McDonald.
This is one of those things. I hate it when things go viral all over again.
He's getting to it late.
I'm getting it late.
I want to
yes.
have a Twitter account that's just like, nope, seen that already. It happened 6 months ago and it became viral then.
Okay,
But he was
I have that Twitter account blocked off. You can't have it.
He was arrested for a DUI. Now, sometimes this information comes out late after you're arrested
No,
for
this
a DUI.
is no. You got to it late. This
5 years later?
This is you're getting to a story that went viral this weekend. That was not a fresh news story, but you want to tell people before Mike. Are things moving this fast in life? Are they moving this fast in life that Mike Ryan has to tell us that something is old when somebody is getting to it for the first time? Tell the people who might not know this story what you were talking about with the actor who plays Shooter McGavin, even though we are 5 years late to this story.
I will. Listen, I don't want to bury anyone here. I will only say that I got it off the list of the funniest things from the sports weekend. So I'm just letting you know.
You are burying. You didn't have to say any of that. It's you're absolutely removing the blame from where it stands, which is it was interesting to you.
Right.
Why are you burying anyone else around here?
I have no idea. That was a terrible job by me. But anyway, Shooter McGavin got arrested for DUI, and he told the officer he was in Happy Gilmore. And it just made me laugh because what else is he going to tell the officer? And that's his go-to. How many times do you think he's used that example? Like, hey, because what else is he going to say?
Since 2017 when this happened?
Yes.
I don't know.
Let's do funniest things.
It was,
from
in my
the sports
defense,
weekend.
it was trending this weekend on Twitter. I don't know what
It
happened.
must have gone on Facebook. So my friend Charlotte Wilder saw Paul Rudd on a plane
Jesus.
once,
And
it
Schur.
went viral. Like hundreds of thousands of people retweeted this. And then she ended up seeing him like later on in the Chiefs locker room. And then last week, out of nowhere, someone like took a Photoshop of all her tweets and like put them together and posted it on Facebook. And it went viral on Facebook last week, even though it happened 3 years ago at the AFC Championship game. So people like our fans, I think some of them saw it on Facebook and started tweeting it at me. And they're like, you should talk about this on the show. Well, I guess I am. But the thing happened years ago. It just went re-viral on Facebook. And so people who hadn't seen it before go viral on Twitter now are finding it and think that it just happened. But like it's literally from like 2000.
We don't have to shame anyone for not having the information of the moment. Mike, you are much faster than the rest of us.
People should be shamed for this.
Okay. But Billy, I would like for you, because you haven't been at a microphone for a very long time, to welcome you back because you're in full yammering mode and we're a bit crowded today. Please go to the therapy couch. I've been told it's been reinstalled. It's been fixed out there. We got it. We wrestled it away from ESPN. Go to the therapy couch and go talk to the therapist about whatever it was on vacation, how you were wronged or where it is that you were hurt or where the show failed you, and get it all out so that you can feel better about yourself and about the fact that the therapy couch is now back in play. I wanted to ask you guys off of the story that is serious from the weekend, Stugotz, in sports. And this is an awkward segue because Aqib Talib's brother, and I don't know what is most recent here on his warrant and arrest. His brother Yaqub is being looked for because of a shooting in a 9 and under game that killed a coach. I think he was a former NFL player named Mike Hickman, and appalling on a number of different levels. A youth football game escalating to the point where something like that ends up happening. And I don't know what other details to add to this story. The report by TMZ is that Talib himself, Aqib Talib, was there around the shooting at a youth football game that ended the life of Mike Hickman.
Yeah, there's videos circulating in which I couldn't see Aqib Talib in the actual video. The video has sound of the incident in question that tragically took this coach's life, but right now it's all internet conjecture. They are looking for Aqib Talib's brother, who is connected to this. Aqib was reportedly at the scene. In his career, he has been near other firearms going off.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's told us the story on Highly Questionable. We don't need to play it again about gunplay being something that was pretty common in his family, and he is on the rise. He and he has been somebody that has had an uncomfortable relationship with violence his entire time in the league. People are afraid to leave. They have been in that sport. It's pretty rare to have a guy that other guys are afraid of.
In 2016, he reportedly shot himself because a gun went off, kind of like the Plaxico style type of deal. So yeah, it's been a part of him. And this is, while he's not reportedly the person that pulled the trigger, at least not yet, it's still a very concerning thing to happen, especially for any person. But Aqib kind of dug himself out of that in terms of public perception. And now, on the heels of reportedly agreeing to this Amazon deal, he's on the site of a tragic killing.
And being a rising announcer in the game because people like him and like that he doesn't quite sound like everybody else. Mike, I wanted to ask you about segueing awkwardly from that, and we'll give you more information when we get more information there. You were against... You thought it was a bad idea for us to perform the musical.
Yes.
And now I heard you last week talking about wanting us as a show to perform the musical.
Yeah, because we are entering the big game into the Grammys. We wanted to be one of the available options for voters for Best Musical Theater Album. And we have to do things. I need to get the publicist of the person that put out this Chris McDonald DUI, because I need this album to go viral once again. It was a very insular project. For as much as we tried to cast a wider net by making it football, it was loved, adored by our fans, but it didn't quite break through. We're going to have to put ourselves in uncomfortable spots if we want this project to grow and hopefully get a Grammy nomination. One of the ideas posited was, hey, let's lean on some of our connects and perform this live on a talk show. But my chief concern is we sound like shit live. It's a good album because we touched up a lot of these vocals. And then I was reminded, Mike, have you seen any pop performances over the last 20 years? They're all touched up live. No one cares anymore. So if that's the case, we can absolutely perform this live and still sound kind of good. They can live tune on the site. So we can actually perform this and grow the project and get it out there in front of Recording Academy members that this is an album that you should vote for when it comes to Best Musical Theater Album.
You need a second buzz is what you need.
I need a second buzz.
Yeah, I understand.
Right now, the best we got is the instrumentals from the big game will be our rejoin music for the foreseeable future. So you can remind yourself of all the great hits from the big game when we come back from commercial breaks in the Dan LeBatard Show with Stugotz podcast.
And hopefully that makes you go to your favorite streaming provider and listen to the album again and tell your friends about it. And if you so happen to run, I don't know if I can say this over the air, just raise awareness. Just if there so happen to be a Recording Academy member around you, just say, hey, there's this great album in the musical theater category that I think you should listen to. I'm raising awareness.
We need a two-pronged approach here. We need to make this go viral on Facebook to get the older crowd. We need to make it go viral on TikTok to get the younger crowd. We need people doing duets to the instrumental versions of our song.
All right.
And as of today, I am on that.
Dan, how do you feel about that, doing it live?
Wildly uncomfortable.
But live performances famously don't have any impact on the rest of the trajectory of your career. Just look at Ashley Simpson.
Yep.
I don't know why Mike changed his mind so violently here. You thought it was laughable the first time I suggested to you the idea of performing that.
Mike, what made me comfortable doing it was knowing that no one was watching. It was just you, and you being there was fine. You guided me along a little bit, and I was comfortable in that environment. I don't know if I'd be comfortable in a live environment. In fact, I'm telling you right now, I would not. I'll do it for you because you need that second buzz. But I just feel like this isn't going to go very well. That's all.
We have no chance of doing this well as a show, even though Jessica sings well and Roy sings well. I think every other voice was wildly distorted. I think everyone else here. Mike might not be a below average singer, but the rest of us, everybody else, below average.
I'm the greatest of all
Not
bad.
being there.
time.
And then all of a sudden, Stugotz every day was like, "Hey, buddy, enjoy your vacation. I don't want to talk to you anymore." And then next day, I'd get yet another call from him saying, "Hey, we got Jake Plummer. We got to record with him tomorrow." And I'd be like, "Okay, but can someone else do it? Because I'm on vacation." And every day he's like, "No, enjoy your vacation. I'm not going to talk to you anymore." But the next day, I'd get another call and then another call. And I got to be honest with you, I don't understand why I'm holding this microphone with a mic flag on it, Doc, if this was supposed to be just between me and you. It's a bit strange, and I feel like maybe you're not the only one that can hear what's going on. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, can I just enjoy my family time, my time away? And I was like, no.
You can't expect me to sing a song on Jimmy Kimmel.
Can you get us on Kimmel? If anybody's listening,
I'll sing
out
if
there,
you get us on Kimmel.
If you guys are booking musical acts for your late night talk shows, or if you may have some famous friends in Hollywood with a lot of influence that may know some other talk show hosts quite personally, please let them know that we are open for business. I'm talking Daily Show. I'm talking Fallon. I'm talking... No, I'm not talking that dude with the carpool karaoke is where I draw the line.
You're not willing to do
Dan,
that?
Dan, if you're not going to do it, I'll sing your part. Nothing stops the NFL. LA.
I think we'd be doomed. I don't think that this would help us, our chances of winning anything here.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. Gonna see the big game. But the traffic is bad on the Brea. Come on, whatever.
Yeah, that's about how I expect it to go.
Hopefully talk about lay of the land, and then I leave and they're angry, and it's like, why? It's like, just say no sometimes, Billy. You can do it, but I can't, because time comes and I freeze up and I just always say yes to things. Even if I want the answer, it'll always be no. And I don't know how to get out of these things, but I really don't remember the words to the song. And then I remember they were talking about selling the album. I was like, oh, wow, maybe I'm going to get something on the back end of that. And then I didn't sign anything, but here we are selling songs that I sang in. And who do I talk to? I don't have an agent. Should I look into an agent? Like, who represents?
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
Funniest thing from the sports weekend is presented by our friends at CBD MD.
Chris Cody, what do you have for us? What was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
JJ Watt taking to the internet because he found a baby rattlesnake in his bathroom.
That's not funny. That's terrifying.
It was just funny because it's like, that's the last place I'd go is make a Twitter video. I'd probably freak out and call animal control.
He was asking what he was supposed to do with it. What is the advice there? I guess we'll get some from Ron McGill, but if you find a baby rattlesnake in your bathroom, look at Whittingham. Whittingham is disgusted and scared.
It's horrifying. A snake in your bathroom? That's the thing that you see. I've seen on the internet before, but the notion of a snake crawling through your toilet and being there as you sit down, it sounds like the most terrifying thing that could ever happen.
I don't think that's where I didn't assume the rattlesnake was in the toilet.
It was just in the bathroom, I think.
I mean, that's everyone's fear, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Is the snake in the toilet everyone's fear?
But when you get the rattle, okay, even if it's not in the toilet, you just close the door and leave, right? You pack a bag and never. Well, I mean, perhaps never return. Perhaps you know what? I think JJ Watt should have walked in and demanded a trade. That's what he should have done.
I think Mike Trout told us, Billy, that he found the rattlesnake in his house and he sold it.
Yeah, Mike Trout told us that he was renting. He had a snake in the house, and then he just assumed if there's one, there's more, and he broke the lease and he left the house and never went back. I think, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this and don't follow my advice on this. I think if you burn down your house after you found a snake inside, that insurance covers it. They're like, it's fine, there was a snake inside, like, we get it.
I think it depends on your insurance.
Or the state.
This kind of goes along with Tony's dilemma last week on Mystery Crate. He was driving home from work and there was a cockroach in his cup holder. We told him he should turn his car back in and get a new one. Or light it on fire.
What if you try to make friends with it by getting like a kid rattle and like shh?
That's a good question.
Shaking it at it, like try talking to it, like I come in peace. Shh.
But if you do it the wrong way and it's like takes it as aggressive.
Tries to mate with you.
Whittingham, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Manchester United, just all of it. Lost 4-0 away at Brentford, who are newly promoted to the Premier League 2 years ago.
What are you laughing
They're
about, Billy?
currently rock bottom of the English Premier League.
United?
Yeah.
Are they laughing at United? I'm trying to
I don't
figure
know.
out.
Perhaps
Billy, you
not.
got to tell us what you're laughing
talking
about.
about snake wieners. He said that he shakes the rattle and all of a sudden the little red thing comes out and then said, there's red too.
Just imagine animals that I don't know what their dick looks like. I imagine like a little red thing pops out.
Yeah, like a dog.
Yes,
God.
Witty gets it.
There are too many people here today.
I'll leave.
Whittingham, you were saying,
Yeah, it was Man United, whatever.
Man, you.
Guillermo, funniest thing from the sports weekend.
The Red Devils.
David Cohn on the Yankees-Red Sox game was described Roger Clemens. I guess he came out on the screen and said the Rockets eating well.
Boy, is he ever.
Was Roger looking hefty, looking thick?
Oh, my God.
I mean, that one was pretty predictable, though. No?
You saw it coming.
I mean, even during his playing days, he got up there.
He was thick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got up there.
Yeah.
Jessica, funniest thing from the sports weekend?
There was this little boy at the White Sox game, and he was eating a giant hot dog, and he took his eye off the prize, and the hot dog fell on the floor, and he was so upset.
Lost the
It
glizzy.
was pretty funny.
Mike Ryan, what do you got?
Chris McDonald, the actor most known for playing Shooter McGavin, he actually got pulled over the weekend. And then
Oh, my.
he told police officers that, hey, I was in Happy Gilmore.
He was going to do it if you didn't. If you hadn't beaten him to it.
So
He's
upset.
scrambling right now trying to find the new funniest thing because he was going to do it to you first.
Conte and Tuchel
I heard
guy.
him. This is a soundproof room, and I heard him in here. He said, I'm going Shooter McGavin.
I did.
That would've been way funnier. I'm sorry.
And then
I
he,
know.
and he
Oh,
said,
I should have talked.
and he said, unless someone takes it.
I didn't think you would take
and my
it.
response was, no one's going to take that.
Yeah, you were a much better person for that joke.
Stugotz.
I don't have anything.
That's it? Okay, he stole yours. I want to talk. It's not the weekend, technically, but that Harry Carey hologram.
Weird.
So wonderful.
Oh. Hi, everybody. I love a glizzy.
It has become such a shitty impersonation.
Maybe you should stop going to it.
I wasn't going to it there.
So bad.
It seemed like you were going
What is
straight
happening?
to it. Yes.
We got a spillage. We got
Again,
spillage.
I wanted to get attention away from my impersonation.
By the way, also don't burn down your house if there's a snake in it. Like that was a joke. I feel like it has to be said.
Thank you, Billy. Why are you now putting in insurance liabilities on this?
There are too many people back there.
I know.
I mean, Billy is just, I think that was a cool thing for Billy to do because people will listen to anything and every insurance policy is different. And it might be covered under some insurance policies, but it might not be covered. Mine did cover it. I tried it.
It wasn't clear to everyone that Billy was joking about the advice.
No.
It wasn't obvious to all that was something that he didn't mean. Okay. If you have to explain the joke that way, you have to explain it.
I feel like I could stab Witty in the neck with a knife and he would react less panicked than if I spilled water on his laptop.
That's a lot of water.
I want to re-examine for a moment what happened there where you are leaking confidence on your impersonation. I told Jessica last week she did something brave because the impersonations are the hardest place to go. And that impersonation by you has gotten less and less confident every time you've done it until now the remains of the Harry Carey impersonation leak confidence and water over a computer that just got wrecked because you didn't have the confidence to be the hologram of Harry Carey.
I had too much confidence. I did the impression and then I swung the mic away from me like with a victory and it spilled water on him. How's this going?
Over the weekend, I was saying to myself in the house, just, oh.
Plus, it's a company computer.
That was it. It stopped right
Just
there.
not Harry Carey. Chris is Harry Carey. Just, oh. It made me laugh when he kept going to it because that's all he has. And kind of.
Hi, everybody.
I think my favorite part is that he says "Hi, everybody" when he famously said "Hey."
Hi. Hi, everybody.
There you go.
It is.
There, we found it.
It is.
You're back.
It would be so hard.
Hi. And just you changing it to from "Hi" to "Hi, everybody." Just
Oh,
and then just then inevitably
You were walking around your house doing this?
It makes me laugh how bad it is. Just that's all he has now.
But your mouth right now is doing what like the Simpson lips do when they blow in the wind, like
my little half moon.
Okay. Again, I want to get back to this idea because the Field of Dreams game already, I'm guessing, less charming than it was ratings wise the first time that it happened.
Got big numbers though.
Again, it did.
Yeah.
A second. This one got the same kind of big numbers that the last one got. The White Sox game from last year.
It got very big numbers. Yes, did very well.
But not what
last year's did. Yes, but still got big numbers.
How do we feel about MLB?
All I know is that Jeremy's back here and he's just like, it did not get big numbers.
There's no way it did. I'm a Cubs fan.
right
I can
now
only
it
name
did.
like
Two
two
bad
Cubs
teams.
players.
Look it up.
Okay, we're looking it up, Stugotz.
Thank you.
And when it gets looked up, why is it that why would you be comfortable making that up, Stugotz?
It's down nearly half from a year ago.
Yeah, but it was the highest rated baseball game, I think, of the year, wasn't it?
According to at Sports Business, Major League Baseball and Fox Sports posted a sharp ratings decline for the league's second Field of Dreams game held on August 11th in Dyersville, Iowa, further signaling that likely end of the event,
Well,
at
keep
least for
reading.
the time being.
Yeah.
To Stugotz's point, it was the highest rated baseball game of the season.
Thank
3.1 million
you.
viewers.
Thank
However,
you.
it was down 2.8 million viewers from a year
They
ago.
canceled the event.
Yeah, they're
The highest rated baseball game of the season.
they're not doing it next year, but they're also doing a bunch of enhancements. They're going to turn that area into a big sports complex.
Why? Oh, please.
No one's going to Iowa for that, okay? It's a kitschy thing that you go to once a year. That's it. Get over yourself, Iowa.
How did you guys feel about the reporting before the Harry Carey hologram was that it was awkward and potentially offensive, possibly offensive. I just thought it was creepy and haunting.
It was that. I also realized that the Harry Carey is very close to my Hank Hill. All I got to do is change my voice a little bit, like, oh. See, it's Hank Hill. Oh.
So who's going to be on my pickleball team? We can do like a LeBatardShow tournament maybe at the next Moss event.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Do you play in the sun?
You don't have to. There's indoor courts. I believe
Okay.
there's indoor courts at Hallandale Beach actually.
Ooh, that's far. Are there indoor courts down south?
In Miami, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is there running?
It depends. If you're playing doubles, there's less running than if you're playing singles.
Would we be playing doubles or singles?
If we have enough people, we can play doubles.
Okay. This is not in the sun and no running. Those are like
Yeah.
my top priorities.
I got you. I mean, we could play early or late, like when the sun's not as strong.
Evening,
too.
I'm not good on the evenings. Mornings, I'm good.
Okay, we could do mornings.
Okay.
Athletic pursuits that don't involve running is a very limited category.
That's why I play
Well,
keeper.
There's I mean, there's not that much running. Like it's good cardio. Like I have an Apple Watch and the entire time my heart rate was in like the high end.
You got
Like,
your
I
steps
was-
in very early.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually didn't get that many steps in because I wasn't running as much.
Now I'm listening.
I was doing, you do like a couple steps to each side, a couple steps back and forward, but the court is much smaller than a tennis
Is
court.
it a frustrating game?
Yes.
Why?
But not in a bad way.
How so?
Well, it's frustrating if you get on a roll or if the other person gets on a roll and then you can't overcome the deficit because they're just hitting it really well. And there's like it's like in tennis. Like if your backhand isn't very good and they keep hitting it to your backhand, you can't hit it with your forehand. Like that can be frustrating.
Do I have to be good at tennis to be good at pickleball?
Definitely not. Serving is much easier. That is one of the things that can either be like really good if you're good at it or very frustrating if you can't get a hang of it.
One of the things I've picked up on from pickleball videos is that it seems as though strength can almost be overrated because I see people really like rear up to
Smacking
hit it
it.
hard and then it doesn't go anywhere because of the nature of the ball.
Right.
Is that true?
I would think so. I think that's the appeal of it, is that you don't have to be particularly strong or particularly fast or anything, as long as you can kind of aim the ball well, get your
It's a game of
paddle
touch.
around it. Yeah, exactly. You know, like in badminton, where like sometimes the lightest touch can be the best hit. You just get it barely over the net. You ever played badminton?
This may shock you, but I've never played badminton.
Jess has really carved a lane out at doing something like once or twice and becoming an expert at it.
This was your first time playing pickleball?
Yeah.
But like, didn't you like F1? You became like, boom. I watched like one season on the
Yes.
drive,
She's
and
a
now I'm
quick
like,
learner.
Now I'm
that's what I
into
mean.
it.
Like, I'm impressed. It's very.
When I find a hobby or a thing I like, Chris, I just dive in. I go balls deep on that thing.
That's usually Mike's thing.
Elbows deep.
What?
Like just like like you. I feel like you're gonna play
Going balls
pickleball
deep?
once, and you're gonna be like, like you dive in on
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. No, I
you
like to
become,
make my identity something that I like in the moment. I'm that guy.
After you play on Saturday, you're gonna come back and
Yeah.
you'll be.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, so if it's just like golf, I don't know if I need one of those things, honestly. That's probably not good
It's
for me.
much better. It's much easier to get the hang of than golf.
Is it much more affordable? Because
It's free.
Okay.
You literally
that's
just need like
good.
a ball and
Because
paddles.
I've
which are
spent
probably-
thousands of dollars just looking like a dick playing golf.
Well,
to
no,
like
I mean,
zero actual like good golf being played.
one of,
None of the good results. Just
of
me
the
looking
things-
like a dick.
yeah, one of the things that I like about Miami is that there's year-round outdoor time built in. Like you can play golf year-round, you can play tennis year-round, whatever, bike year-round, whatever thing you like. That's not something
I haven't even been playing. I haven't been playing soccer during daylight hours this summer.
because it's so hot.
Yeah, this is the first time that I put my foot down. I'm like, it's too hot. I'm not doing this anymore. Something has definitely changed on this planet. I think it might be this global warming thing that everyone keeps talking
I've
about.
heard about
It is
it.
hot.
And you never feel it more than on a plastic pitch in the middle of Westchester
Yes.
when it's 110
The
degrees.
heat
and
radiates up.
yeah, right. I believe artificial turf absorbs heat.
No, we've been there where like our shoes are starting to melt, and it's
Yeah, well,
it's not
I
great.
have seen someone's cleats melt before, and then you walk on it. It's like when you walk on the side of a hot pool and your feet start like trying to tiptoe around because it's so hot on your feet. On the subject of athletic pursuits, we tried this weekend. Mike and I went go-karting yesterday.
Huh.
Yeah, I went to
Indoors,
K1.
outdoors?
Yeah, I went to indoor, and
Hialeah Grand Prix.
I really
Wow.
thought that I was going to be good at this because I did it once and I was good at it. And our group of friends went to hang out afterwards, and I made an excuse that I had something to do, but I really had just a wounded ego at how bad I was at race car driving.
It's not always you.
I know
Sometimes
always
it's the
me.
cart.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's the measurement as well. Like
Yeah.
some of my lap times weren't registering. I didn't want to file any
You were off
complaints
track limits.
and it was not great. But either way, I actually had confidence in an athletic pursuit that I was embarking on for probably the first time in my life. And to have to be wounded like that, it really hurt. It ruined my day. And I put it in the wall 3 times to the point where I think I'm a little bit subconcussed. And it's affected me some since,
Well,
including right now.
maybe
put
your
it in
car
the
was
wall 3
porpoising.
times?
Yeah, I put it in the wall 3 times. Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
How?
I was trying to quickly like take a very narrow. There's a very sharp turn, so I was trying to take it at speed and come out of it with speed, and kind of cranking it.
Oversteer.
Yeah, exactly. There's some oversteer. I just went like at a real rate of speed when clattering into the wall.
Yeah.
And I
Well-
did not feel right for the rest of the day.
Chris, the thing about pickleball is that you can be a beginner and we'll all be beginners. And if we play doubles, we can kind of take it easy until we get the hang of it and then start playing a little bit harder. But
I'll wait till the second week to come out, though. I don't want to let you guys get a
well,
little head start.
I was going to say the thing about Miami is that you can do all these things, like you can golf year round, but golf is a very expensive hobby unless you're just kind of going to a public range and hitting balls. This is totally free. You're just, enjoying your time out there. There's a lot of free public courts.
Is there a weird culture around it? Like, am I
Yes.
gonna?
Well, okay, so I mentioned this earlier on the show, but this guy came up to my friend and I and asked if we wanted to play with him. We said yes. And so he told us as we were playing that he was a level 4 pickleballer.
There are levels.
Apparently there are levels. I don't know how you are designated in a level. I'm sure people will tweet all of this information at us because pickleball fandom is a very passionate base. But they might be self-designated. I'm not sure. But there are levels to this, Mike.
I'm in. You have one morning, but it can't go later than 11:30. I won't be in the sun once it gets to its
We'll get there
apex.
early. We'll get there early.
The
All right.
usapickleball.org website, I don't know why I said it that way, has the level rating. So there's 1 to 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and then 5.5 plus are the skill ratings.
What does 1.5 mean?
Well, it's 1 to 2. This player is just starting to play pickleball and has no other sports background, minimal understanding of the rules of the game. So,
Oh, so
I mean, it seems like
already
we
a
may
level
have
2.
Yeah.
That's pretty
well,
impressive.
maybe I'm 2.5. What's 2.5?
So 2.5, this player has limited experience, can sustain a short rally with players of equal ability,
Yeah.
basic ability to keep score.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Level 2 right there.
Well, hold on.
No, that's
maybe
level
you're
2.5.
like-
That
was
maybe
2.5.
you're 3 though.
What's 3?
All right, 3. Now this gets complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of levels here.
So the forehand, the ability to hit a medium paced shot, lacks directional intent and consistency. So that seems okay. Backhand, avoids using a backhand, lacks directional intent and consistency. Serve and return, able to hit a medium paced shot, lacks depth, direction, and consistency. I mean, 3.5 honestly sounds like an insult.
I think I'm better than that, though.
You might be a level 4.
I
Well,
might
hold
be level
on.
4 too.
Well, hold on. We haven't talked about your dink yet. Not able to consistently sustain a
Excuse
dink
you.
rally. Not yet developed the ability to control this shot. The third shot
So can you
generally
dink?
hits a medium
Please don't
pace
talk about my dink.
with little
Can you doink?
direction.
We're not talking about my doink either.
All right, volley. Able to hit a medium pace shot, lacks directional / inconsistent, and strategy. Understands fundamentals, is learning proper court positioning, knows
Wouldn't you-
the fundamental rules, and can keep score and is now playing tournaments. So you're not a 3
No, I'm
yet.
not a 3 yet.
No.
But like positioning on the court, like you could know that just by having common sense. Like watching one tennis match. Oh, if they're gonna hit it to the right side, you better go back to the middle after you hit it because they might hit it to the left next.
What's the surface like?
It's like a tennis court kind of. It's bouncy, like the ball bounces off of it.
All right,
But
so it's a hard court.
it's hard. Yeah.
I'm a clay specialist.
So Jess, you are our pickleball expert, correct?
I guess.
Okay, because on
Expert.
usapickleball.org, on the skill assessment thing, on the right hand, there's a printable skill assessment sheet, PDF that you could download. And then you can it's like a report card. So you pick the level that you want to, I guess, grade someone on, like 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, or 5. And then there's like a checklist you could see here where you'd rate them 0, 1, 2, or 3 based on how they do.
So that guy was trying to flex when he designated his own level.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
someone did it for him. We don't know.
Hmm.
You should ask him.
Someone has to bestow that upon you.
Ask him for
I
his
agree.
report card. Yeah.
I mean, like in karate, you have to pass a certain test, right? Where there's like judges and then they give you a belt.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about the wooden boards that they break in karate.
I think that's taekwondo, isn't it? I don't know.
I know my 4-year-old.
Tempo.
My 4-year-old does karate, and those boards are piece of shit.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, is it
Flimsy.
balsa
I
wood that
wouldn't tell
everyone's
my
kicking?
I wouldn't tell my 4-year-old this, but those things.
You
Anyone
could do it.
those
Could you
things.
break it? You could break it.
They also had these plastic boards too. And those were
Boards.
harder to break than the actual wooden boards.
One of the boards broke like in the train. Like they were just bringing it out to like, and then like, oh, I broke it. Sorry, let me get a new one.
To get my red belt, I had to break through one that was on fire.
Whoa.
That was cool. Yeah,
What level?
that was red belt.
I would wait for the fire to
Was that
take
like
up
3?
most of the board, right? And then it's weaker.
3 from black.
So you just kind of slow it down a little bit, like, oh, I'm still concentrating, and then it's nice and soft because the fire did most of the work, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
How about cinder blocks? Your kid breaking any cinder blocks yet, or
I
not
could never
yet?
do it. Never do it.
No cinder blocks.
It's a final test before black belt. I failed
Really?
That one.
Cinder blocks?
Still got my black belt though. No big deal.
Well, if you didn't do it, how'd you get the black
Yeah,
belt?
you know, my kata was good.
Speaking of like rating our sporting, didn't say that well.
No, you're
But
good.
I finally have a handicap in golf. This is
Okay,
like,
I'm glad you.
oh yeah, just didn't stop right there.
Yeah.
I finally have one.
Guys,
You have to play a lot of golf to calculate it, though,
Right.
don't you?
I-
Right?
guys, I
Oh,
have
you
a
got
handicap.
it?
I was always somebody that just thought it was how many you average over par. So I've always told people I'm like
Oh,
a
no.
10 because I usually shoot like low 80s. So like I've always said 10, but I put in like 30 scores because I've had a bunch of scorecards and I'm a 7.
It's pretty good.
How about me?
Well, they calculate it
6.9
based off
actually.
of like you have to golf at a course, and the rating of each
Right.
hole is how they calculate it, right?
Well, like each course and what tee you
Yeah.
play from has a rating. So you have to say
Correct.
where you played it, what tee you were from, and then whatever score you got from that, you get a
Right.
rating for.
so you basically have to let a computer do it, and it has to all be
Yes.
like USGA.
That's what I am. Like I did the official one because
Yeah.
I'm interested in playing some amateur tournaments like in my area.
Oh.
Just thought it'd be fun to do that, and you have to have an official handicap to do that. So that's why I've been.
Well, you
working
all
on
have
that.
a choice. You can practice playing golf with Chris Cody, or
Do
you
both.
can play pickleball with me.
Yeah.
Choose wisely.
Is 7 good?
7 is good. Yeah, single digits is good. Scratch is like 0. So
What Stugotz is? Because I mean, I don't
This
want to
is
be
an
the guy that
interesting
does
one.
it when he's gone. 'cause
Dyslexia.
Stugotz is an interesting
I
one.
wasn't
Dude.
super impressed when I saw the golfing.
Stugotz, for how much he plays golf, is not good.
Oh,
Wow.
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 I didn't want to
Big
say.
shout.
Jeez.
He's probably going to hate this, especially coming from me, because you're actually good. I'm not.
I hope
but-
he's here and he hears this.
No, but for someone that plays golf that much, I'd like to think if I played golf as much as him, I'd be better than that. I never play.
Maybe he's not playing as often as he says. Because, you know, we always say he lies. Like,
Oh, I think
that's
he's-
maybe
No.
that's
I think
the
he's
thing.
definitely
I think that's the
playing.
one thing he's not lying about.
The one thing that's like weird about it is he doesn't have a full swing.
Right.
It's like
Right.
a 3/4 swing.
Yeah.
Again, for someone who plays that much, how do you not have a
there
full
was-
rounded out swing?
If I may admit, like I saw the video that Tyler put together. It's on our YouTube of our Tahoe. There were a couple of swings there that I thought he was me, which is also why I'm coincidentally on a diet right now. But there were times that he was off in the distance, and I saw the swing. I'm like, ah, man, that's a terrible
Like-
swing. And then they zoom in. I'm like, oh my god, that was actually Stugotz.
Yeah.
I felt better about myself because he plays all the time.
He has his strengths, like inside 100 yards, chipping, he's good. Putting, he
game.
can make a putt. But, like, yeah, it's very
Medium
surprising
game.
that he doesn't have, it's very short swings.
But
And
you don't
it's-
need to have a good drive to play well.
Correct.
However, you expect that if you play a lot, you would eventually have a pretty good drive.
Yeah.
My drive is getting there, and it gets better the more that I play. Like
Yep.
by the time we're hitting hole 16, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
all I got to do is play more often.
I want to play 18 more.
Yeah.
Right.
But Stugotz plays a lot.
18 is too much. I've long held the belief that golf should be in sets of 3 or sets of 6. I'm sorry. So
This is a great theory.
yeah. So instead of playing 2 9-hole, front 9, back 9, you play 3 rounds of 6. So there's a front 6, a middle 6, and a back 6. So basically, you could play 6 holes and call it quits for the day, and you've got like an hour and a half round of golf.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or you play 12 and you're done. And it's like maybe 2.5 hours, 3.
Normalize
or you
the
play
front 6.
all 18.
No, I love this
I
idea.
love 6 holes.
Because I can never play golf because it's so time consuming.
I
My
agree.
wife would hate me if I'm like, hey, gonna play golf.
See you in
See
5
you Sunday.
hours. Yeah.
Like,
It's 18 holes is a huge time commitment. It's basically your entire day. Unless you tee off at like 7 a.m.
but I'm a
It's
bad
so
golfer, so it
early.
takes me a little bit longer.
Right.
And it also depends on who I'm playing with because some of these characters, like, oh, playing with Roy today, I'm not gonna be home for a while.
And the I'm not
Different Roy.
okay. The stamina to hit the ball for 18 holes, it requires a lot. I mean, especially if it's warm out, if you're kind of dragging ass a little bit, maybe the course doesn't have coffee at the, drinks place, maybe they don't have beer. It's just a long, long time commitment. You should be able to play 6 or 12 and call it quits. But if you want to play 18, you can still play 18. No one's telling you not to. But I want an option where I'm playing 6 and I'm done.
How long is a pickleball game?
I don't have good enough skin to play 18 holes of golf.
Why? Because it's just
I
like
get
breaking
burned
you.
really early.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put on
Oh, like
sunscreen?
I thought thick skin because you're still learning.
No,
you
no.
mean like from the sun?
Literally burned. Yeah.
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 Like your organ, like your skin.
Yeah.
The epidermis.
Pickleball games can be anywhere from 15 minutes to 20 minutes, depending how good
bad
the
I
people
am.
are. Yeah.
You flex saying you played 3 games? Play like an hour.
Yeah, but we took breaks in between because it was so hot out.
Oh.
And a little snack break. I brought like banana chips and stuff, Billy, fruit gummies.
What do you like, tostones or plátanos?
Yeah. But
I love tostones.
did you have mariquitas or banana chips?
I had banana chips this weekend from Trader Joe's, but Trader Joe's has these great plantain chips. They taste like tostones, but they're in a bag. You'd think, how can they make tostones that still taste like tostones that stay shelf stable? They're so crispy and delicious. Highly recommend.
Out of all the things that you've said that I'm going to take you up on, it's a bag of tostones.